with a record number of women securing frontbench positions. Michael Packey is in Canberra.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he has the most experienced team Labor has ever taken into government. As expected, his deputy, Richard Marles, takes on the defence portfolio. The other big winners include Jason Clare, who becomes Education Minister, and Ed Husic enters Cabinet, taking the Industry and Science portfolio. Victorian MP Claire O'Neill is the new Home Affairs Minister. She's one of 19 women who's been promoted either into Cabinet, the Outer Ministry, or has been made an Assistant Minister. The new team will be sworn in at Government House this morning.
The housing market is split. Australian home prices have fallen nationally for the first time in at least 20 months, but only in Sydney and Melbourne. Prices are still on the up in Adelaide. The Queen has returned to Windsor Castle ahead of celebrations for her Platinum Jubilee. Brett McLeod has more from London.
Her Majesty has spent the last few days at her Balmoral estate in Scotland. She's been filmed getting on a private flight from Aberdeen before later being driven into her regular home at Windsor Castle. The 4-day Jubilee celebrations kick off tomorrow with the traditional trooping the colour to honour her accession to the throne before the 96-year-old leads members of her family onto the famous Buckingham Palace balcony, with tens of thousands of people expected to cheer her on.
The benefits of high quality and nutritious milk are being highlighted this World Milk Day. Latest research shows 2/3 of adults are consuming less than the daily recommended amount of calcium, which can help reduce risk of heart disease, stroke and type 2 diabetes. Dairy Australia's Melissa Cameron is encouraging people to increase their intake.
Just one glass of milk helps Australians meet nearly 30% of their daily calcium needs, including key nutrients in electrolytes, protein and carbohydrates.
Walking slowly could be a dementia risk warning sign. New research from Australia and the US shows a decline in walking speed and cognition is a predictor of future dementia. Now to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
And we're glued to the screen this morning because there's a big tennis match happening. Good morning, Tom Wren.
Good morning, Mel. Yes, it's a massive one, isn't it? It's quarter-final action at the French Open, and it is a big one, as you say, being played between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. Now, the King of Clay, Nadal, has started in supreme fashion, taking the first set 6-2, and he was up a double break in the second set, but the world number one has just hit back, breaking back one game of serve, and he's now trailing just 2-3 in the second set. The winner of that match will take on Alexander Zverev after the German enjoyed a 4-set win against young Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz. Well, the AFL mid-season draft will be held tonight with much attention on what the two SA clubs will do. The Crows have pick 4, while the Power have pick number 8. Port's players have a few days off as they have the bye this coming weekend, while the Crows will take on West Coast on Saturday at home before their bye next week. Geelong will take on the Western Bulldogs to kick off round 12 on Friday night. Forward Tom Hawkins says he's looking forward to their bye after the match.
We're probably not playing our best football. It's probably been a little bit hampered by the way that we've had changes to our side, and it seems like it's ever changing. So the bye is probably coming at a good time. Hopefully after the bye we get a few numbers back, a bit more continuity in our training.
Hawkins there on Fox Footy, and that is the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au.
Cloudy and 15 for your Wednesday, cloudy tomorrow 15, Friday showers and 16. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Every time that you walk in the
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
I close my eyes for a second and pretend it's you won.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. It's the 1st of June. It's the start of winter by the meteorological calendar. And we'll be talking a lot about, I suspect, about how cold it is out there at the moment. I was thinking of you this morning, David, because my car was lying to me. It was saying it was 14 degrees or something. And I thought, if it is, the apparent temperature might be a record distance below what the registered temperature is. Well, I want you to tell us what it is in a moment. We've got Vincent McAviney coming up after 6:30. We'll talk about the build-up to the Queen's Platinum Jubilee that's all kicking off this weekend. We're going to try and teach you how to become a trivia mastermind. Bryden Coverdale is the shark on the chaser. He's written a book about the obsession behind becoming a trivia guru. Maybe it's something you'd like to pick up. And we'll also chat with a man who's going to run around the Samry building 21 Ks this morning in the cold. I mean, there's probably easier ways to get warm, but it is for a good cause. That's a little bit later in the morning. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. The current temperature is 8.4, but it feels like 6.2. I got to say, that is a marked improvement on yesterday. Yesterday, the apparent temperature was half the real temperature.
Yeah, so the distance is actually okay.
Yeah, it's not as bad. I actually don't feel as bad today as I did yesterday. Yesterday was absolutely terrible. I'm sporting this excellent...
I was going to say, is that new?
New hoodie, yeah, it's really thick.
Jump on the live stream, folks. Facebook,
I
YouTube.
got it at Trims.
David's updated the wardrobe.
I got to say,
looks warm.
I love going in there. They always look after me, and you walk in there and there's one person behind the counter.
Yep.
And they say, "Can I help you?" And I say, "In about half an hour, when I buy a year's worth of clothes in 30 minutes."
Did you do that?
Yeah, I do it. I go in there once a year, get a pair of jeans. Always look at the R.M. Williams dress shirts.
Yep.
For the more formal occasion, and picked up this industry hoodie. It costs like $75 or something.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've really nailed the upper half of the body. The
So
feet
do you
still
think
need a bit of work.
You got in and out within half an hour? Did you achieve your goal?
Oh, yeah. Because you go to like Saturday afternoon at like 3:30, or you can go in Sundays. They're open Sundays. It's like you're shopping in Shepparton. Like it's not like you're going down the mall where there's people everywhere. There's a space out the front on King William Street, because now it used to be on Trim's Corner on Carrington. It moved about 10 years ago, maybe less. But yeah, it always reminds me of shopping in, because when I lived in Sydney, I always used to make a point of doing my dress shopping on the drive home, because 1,300-kilometre drive. We used to break it up when our two older kids were young, my ex-wife and I, and we'd stay in different towns to make the trip more fun for everyone. It was a bit of a annual pilgrimage, the drive home for Christmas. But yeah, I remember shopping in a place in Mildura a lot called Ransom's Menswear. And whenever I go to Trims, I'm reminded of being...
Ransoms.
Run by the Ransom family in Mildura.
Fantastic.
Any Mildura listeners might actually remember the old Ransom's Menswear. But it takes you back to a time where service actually counted. And this is the big criticism of modern-day cookie-cutter department stores.
Oh, my God.
You can walk around a department store and almost, die of old age before you get served.
I went to buy something recently. I genuinely couldn't find a counter to pay for it. I was walking around going... And the worst part was, I'm thinking, I've walked around for 10 minutes holding this that I've taken off of some other area. Not only can I not pay for it by choice, because I can't find anyone at a counter, I'm almost at the point where I think, well, if no one notices me for another 5 minutes, I'm not even sure it's stealing.
It always feels like that, doesn't it?
It's more like this stuff was all just left here.
Yeah. And I suppose it depends on whether you want to shop with purpose because you've got better things to do with your time, or if you're someone who likes spending, in quotes, a day at the shops. Like, a day at the shops?
No thanks.
Pass. But, if you need 4 pairs of socks, 2 collared shirts, 3 T-shirts, 1 really thick hoodie to get you through winter, new pair of jeans, you know exactly what you want. You can just walk up and go bang, 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 as opposed to just meandering around aimlessly. I had an old guy thought yesterday, though, speaking about the weather as we did at the start of the show, and I just absent-mindedly started looking at realestate.com, not that I have any intention of doing this, but I was walking around in the backyard, and there's all bits of gum tree lying on the grass, it's blowing a gale, I'm freezing cold. And I thought, okay, I'm 53. Is this the point at which you go, how good would it be to move to Queensland?
Oh, you're already thinking retirement, are you?
No, not retirement.
This is a hell of a way to break it to me, David.
Well, I just thought it's the first day of winter.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting. We've got quite a few listeners. We often get text on the Auto Masters text line from people up in Cairns and so forth, who are Adelaide people.
Yep.
Is there an age at which suddenly the little bing light goes off in your head that makes you think, maybe I should go to Queensland?
I need to go somewhere where it's warmer.
Even if it's just for 4 months of the year.
Let us know. We might have some experts listening. They often are listening early too. Is this the time of year, though, when in Queensland right now, inexplicably, it's 5 a.m.? Or are we sort of on
No, we're only half an hour behind Queensland at the moment.
All right, good. Well, they can call in then.
Pretty sure.
8223 or text us on the Automasters text line 0480 1395.
I mean, there's no restaurants there. Certainly none that you want to eat at.
No, it's purely about
there's no
temperature
wine.
and comfort, isn't it?
Yeah, culturally it seems a bit sort of bereft. But it's nice and warm.
I note this morning you seem very calm.
Calm?
You're calm. You've come in. Your demeanour is the same as always. You seem relaxed.
Are you about to put me in a bad mood by telling me something that's going to upset me?
No, I'm just saying you don't bear the hallmarks of a man waking up in a state where a climate emergency's just been declared.
No, well, you just got to roll with it.
You're keeping a lid on it.
That's right. I mentioned it yesterday. I got wind of the fact that it was coming.
Yeah, and it happened.
I had a bit more time to prepare.
Here we are in a climate emergency.
Is it? Well, at least they've recognised it.
Right.
It's a bit like the word hero, isn't it? Like overused, and inappropriately used. Like
emergency.
Is it more problem we can address, as we are addressing here in South Australia by moving towards renewables? 3/4 of our power is going to come from or is coming from renewables now.
Yeah,
in SA,
we're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
by that measure.
It suggests mad flat panic, doesn't it? Emergency.
It does. It always feels to me these kind of things like sitting down at the dinner table with your family and going, right, I think it's time this family stopped and recognised there's a problem getting Western medicine to Africa. Yeah, okay. Cool. Can you pass the salt?
You selfish so-and-sos.
What now? What next, David, is I guess my question.
I guess the dispassionate policy-based argument is the world is heating up.
Yes.
Sea levels are going to rise. I reckon if you were living in Tuvalu, you've probably got more of a right to declare a climate emergency than
I would have thought.
If you're living on North Terrace.
I'm across the broad sort of, concepts. I'm just not sure what changed.
You do believe in climate change, though?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's anyone left who doesn't. Even your hard right form. No, they argue about.
You join me on Sky News at 5 o'clock every Thursday.
No, but I think Corey Bernardi's argued previously that he doesn't argue that things aren't, the weather's not changing. He argues what the cause is and what proportion of it's man-made or fixable by man.
The one part of the conservative argument that I do agree with is, and this is where I think it's funny, like the idea that in the Pacific, and the criticism from half-wits like Kevin Rudd, where he says, well, one of the key drivers of Chinese militarism in the Asia Pacific is, of course, 10 years of conservative rule, no action on climate change. And I go, well, that makes sense, Kev, doesn't it? Because Australia, where despite 10 years of conservative rule, things like renewables have grown, as we've just said, here in South Australia. So what? An ostensibly educated person like Ray can argue that the countries are in protest at Australia and its climate policies, flocking to China.
Yes,
China,
that famous bastion of don't they build more coal power plants every year than Australia has?
Yeah, I reckon every month.
Look,
that part of the argument where we can go, all right, we've done our bit. How's the rest? How India going? Yes. How's China going? How Russia going?
Yeah, well, they don't even get counted because China's still considered a developing country.
Yeah, and up until 2030.
Yeah, it's something crazy. Yeah, so that's what time they start thinking about this. I don't know. I'm just not. I don't feel like my world changed when we announced the emergency yesterday.
Well, maybe from little things, big things grow. Well, maybe you'll find that today. I don't know. You just have a bit of a spring in your step.
Maybe I might start prepping the bunker.
Yeah, that's right. Go to Gagana's.
The Premier said there's an emergency.
Chickpea needs.
I'm on it. That's right. Buy some canned goods.
Can I have 144 cans of garbanzos, please?
15 after 6. I've got some texts on the Automasters text line coming through. Someone's car says it's currently 6 degrees. Feels closer to the mark. Mick from Glandore says, Ken Ranson's a really good bloke.
Excellent.
I knew him from the Riverside Golf Club at Mildura. Someone said,
on you, Mick.
The roads in Queensland are all shut and washed away. Yeah, that makes it less attractive as a retirement destination at the moment.
I can't believe that Mick Gibby from Glandore knows Ken Ransom
Yeah.
from Mildura. Ransom's menswear.
Probably so people waking up this morning to get dressed in their Ransom's clothes.
Seriously, it is like a little carbon copy of Trim's, that shop. Like, you just walk in there. Oh, and I think they do suit hire as well for all your, big social occasions there in Mildura.
16 after 6.
Good town.
News headlines coming up in a moment.
Swan has been keeping Australian families safe for 35 years and is #1 in do-it-yourself security. Swan has a complete lineup of security solutions, from 4K CCTV systems with sensor lights and alarms to wireless cameras, doorbells and more. Receive alerts, see and control everything on your phone using the Swan Security app. It's easy and affordable. Swan Security from Bunnings, Harvey Norman, Jcard, JB Hi-Fi, The Good Guys and Swan.com. Prevent crime all the time with Swan Security.
An FIVEaa community has so many of the amenities you're looking for in retirement living, and a special sense of belonging that residents say you'll feel right away. Share your passions and interests with like-minded people, discover new friendships and live life to the fullest, all in the safety and comfort of a place that's more than just your home. It's your community. This winter, come along and feel the warmth of an FIVEaa retirement community. With 15 across Adelaide, there's sure to be one you'll warm to. Search FIVEaa First Step to book a discovery tour.
Now, this is a Wednesday treat. In fact, this is an emergency that deserves your attention. This weekend is a super weekend at your local Cheapest Chips. It means it's a super opportunity to take advantage of their cheap prices.
What about this? If you're looking to clean up the backyard, how's the timing at Cheapest Chips? I mean, my backyard looks like a bomb's gone off at the moment with all the bits of detritus from the gum tree. 20% off all garden power tools. That includes chainsaws, hedge trimmers, line trimmers, lawnmowers, you name it. 20%
That's right.
off.
If your gutters are overflowing with the range, you'll find 20% off a range of ladders too. 4 steps, just $79.20. 5 steps, $87.20, which to me, that's a bargain.
Oh,
you're getting that extra step for just $8.
Yeah, they're throwing in a step there.
6 large steps, just $111.20.
I wonder if it keeps going up.
The step economy there.
Yeah. Like a 113 step ladder.
So the 6th step.
How much would you save on that?
The 5th step costs you $8. The 6th step costs you $24.
I think the key takeout the Cheapest Chips people are after here is that ladders are 20% cheaper than normal. Also, there's heaps more in store, including 30% off Prenetti grooming products.
Just trying to work it out.
Groom yourself.
If you need to get to a point where you need somewhere like, 20 steps, you're better off buying 4 5-steppers. Anyway.
39 steps.
That's right.
Stairway
but this
to
is
heaven.
the beauty. You can have your fun with Cheapest Chips. You just don't know what's going to happen. It's bonkers.
Exactly.
For more super weekend deals, check the back page of this week's Cheapest Chips catalogue or head to your local Cheapest Chips.
Let me tell you, nothing is going to stop the team at Wavell Mitsubishi from giving you incredible end of financial year deals. Enter via Goodwood Road and choose from the entire range today. It's game on at Wavell Mitsubishi, opposite the showground, driven by Australian Motors, LVD 80.
This is the sound of Julian's bargain price vacuum with deep express suction. This is the sound of Julian trying to fix his bargain price vacuum, which infuriates him deeply. Yes, this is the sound of bargain regret. When it comes to the important stuff, like insurance, don't risk it. Go to Amy instead, who offers great value cover you won't regret. Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by FIVEaa Limited trading as Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au. TMD also available.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Hey there, Georgie girl.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Could ever see the loneliness there inside you? Hey there, Georgie girl. Why do all the boys just pass you by? Could it be you just don't try? Or is it the clothes you wear? You're always window shopping.
20 minutes after 6, let's get into the news headlines on this cool Wednesday morning. A man's been charged with the murder of missing New South Wales man Peter Hillier at Venus Bay on the Eyre Peninsula. The 64-year-old who'd been reported missing by his niece had suffered significant injuries. His travelling companion claimed he fell from his motorhome on the Flinders Highway while drunk and later died at his rented holiday home. Superintendent Des Bray says police doubt the 43-year-old's story and he's been arrested.
The motive for the murder is not clear at this stage, or the location of the death. We're trying to identify any sightings of Peter or the motorhome, specifically since 7 a.m. on Sunday, so that we can map out their movements, where they were and what they were doing.
The accused, Adam Troy Bennett, has been missing himself for 2 years but faced court yesterday. It's an extraordinary story on the front page of the Tiser today.
They've pieced it all together really well. It was mystifying, this story. I don't know how these blokes know each other, like what the deal is, but yeah, it's all explained very well in today's paper.
The Prime Minister has announced his new ministerial team with Anne Ali and Ed Husick becoming Australia's first Muslim ministers. Anthony Albanese has allocated Miss Ali the early childhood education and youth portfolios. Husick, who will become the industry and science minister. The Egyptian-born Anne Ali says she's honoured to represent a group that resonates so closely.
As a single mum myself, I relied on childcare so that I could get out and work and, put food on the table and keep a roof over our heads. So it's something that's very dear to my heart.
As we were saying a few weeks ago, South Australia's representation at the cabinet table has gone up a lot, with Mark Butler, Penny Wong, Amanda Rishworth and Don Farrell all there in the ministry. Don Farrell sort of Mr. Big. He's got trade, he's got tourism, he's also special Minister of State.
Yeah, and he's the deputy leader in the upper house in the Senate.
So that's
we control the Senate pretty much, South Australia, with Penny Wong and Don Farrell. Then the leader and deputy leader,
and conversely with Simon Birmingham for the Libs being the most senior Liberal senator.
The South Australia, they should need to get things done.
Yeah, well, it's the state's house. We've made it our house. But interesting that Tanya Plibersek has become just Environment Minister. She was Shadow Education, which was a much bigger portfolio. I think Albo's quite deliberately, because they're not. There's no love lost there. I think he sort of sidelined her a bit.
And she's always been touted among the leadership aspirants of the party as well, so you don't really want those sorts of people having the most high-profile positions.
Well, maybe she's at a point where she just, and particularly holding an inner-city seat like Sydney, which is vulnerable to attack from the Greens, maybe she's just said, look, I'm happy with this, give it to me. I'll get to do all the good news climate change announcements.
But they're not all going to be good news, are they? It's one of those portfolios that you're inevitably going to have upset large swathes of people, because it's going to be up to her to stand up and either say to people in New South Wales and Queensland, you got to stop taking so much water out of the Murray,
100%.
Or people in South Australia to get over it. This is just how it has to be.
And she'll have all those irrigators getting stuck into her from the get-go saying, we want more. And the gnats. So there you go.
It'll be interesting. We'll have more on that after 7 o'clock this morning. 8.3 degrees outside at the moment, top of 15, so there's not much in it warmth-wise today. Tomorrow, just a top of 15 as well, and an overnight low of 8. And then we're back into the rain cycle. Friday, up to 6 mils and 16. Saturday, 20 mils and 15. Sunday, 15 mils and 14 degrees. Yikes, that's cool. And then Monday, 6 more mils of rain and up to 15. So this is like a brief sort of 36 hours where we could go somewhat rainless, but after that it's going to be back again in a big way.
Back on.
Speaking of back again in a big way, Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio, thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, boys. Wanted to talk about rivalries this morning. We've got a match happening as we speak, quarterfinal, Rafael Nadal up against Novak Djokovic. Just quickly, who are you going for?
Okay, you're a funny man, Rennie.
All right. So, at the moment, I reckon this is the 59th time they've played, and it's Djokovic leading 30-28 overall. Nadal took the first set 6-2, and you thought, here we go, up 3-love in the second, 2 breaks of serve. Djokovic has just won a mammoth 6th game in the set. He's now got both breaks back, so it's 3-all. Has all the makings of being a 4-5 set epic, this one. Might still be going when you boys finish up this
Come
morning.
on, Rafa.
Go, Rafa.
But it just made me think, in terms of the rivalries, we'll start with just tennis rivalries. Does it beat all of this rivalry? Because these two don't like each other, right? They do a pretty good job of disguising it, but there's no love lost at all.
They're sort of civil in their dislike for each other.
They are, but
Nadal was quite blunt about the vac stuff, though, wasn't he?
He was, and I think that was a bit of a, veiled swipe at Djokovic as well in his character.
He's quite a polite guy, though, Rafa.
He very polite.
He's not, that kind of bombastic, big talking.
Yep.
You need that in a rivalry.
All his comments have to be teased out of him too, because everything he ever said that reflected poorly on Djokovic was at a press conference where he was being pressed. What do you think about the fact that he's been at some bunga party in Dubrovnik where everyone's giving each other COVID? That was Berlusconi coined that term. Bunga parties.
I like that. Graf versus Celis, Sampras, Agassi, Becker and Edberg, McEnroe and Borg.
Yeah, that was a good one.
They're all good ones, aren't they?
More Borg and McEnroe.
And then I wonder, do individual...
What about Tomic and Kyrgios?
Tomic and Kyrgios, yeah, that's a good one. Billie Jean King and Margaret Court, Navratilova and Chris Evert. I mean...
Billie Jean King and Margaret Court sort of moved from tennis into politics, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, yeah.
It really has.
Yeah, but it also made me think, do individual rivalries have the same weight as, like, team rivalries? So the LA Lakers and Boston Celtics... You probably care more about the team rivalries, don't you?
Because you can point to a certain set of colours in a place that's tormented you for large parts of your life.
I'm going to say in the golden era of SANFL, growing up as a kid in the 70s, it was Port Adelaide versus everybody.
Yeah.
It really was.
So if you really love a tennis player, at some point in your life, they will retire.
Yeah.
And then other people come through. At no point in your life, for example, will the Port Magpies not be there to torment David and other people. So you might have a period where you get it over them, but at some point in your life, someone who's tormented you will be back doing it again, and you'll hate them even more. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. That's what keeps coming back, and keeps you talking about the bad times and the good times.
That's right.
But yeah,
good rivalries are good because
you need them.
Like with Port, though, it makes you, and this is why I love doing that book with Scott Hodges, and he makes the point really well in the book that playing for Port in that golden age, he was born 80s, 90s, late 80s, very late 80s, early 90s, but it meant that whenever Port played any other side, the side would play 10% better because they knew they were playing Port.
Absolutely.
So they had to lift.
Yeah.
So it meant that every week that he went out there and laced up his jumper,
it's exhausting.
It was like, right, these guys are having a real crack at it.
Yeah.
Conversely, for the like people like me who are Sturt, it means that 1976 carries so much weight as a premiership. Because, in front of 67,000 people at the new football park, Sturt beat Port.
Yeah, and you weren't expected to.
Yeah, so all that stuff, the richness of SANFL comes from that.
Spot on. So, look, another chapter in this rivalry. We'll keep you updated throughout the morning, but I think most people doing what you guys are doing.
I know you're not into censorship, Rennie, because you're a straight up and down journo. But if not Djokovic wins, feel free to drop it from the news entirely.
That's right.
I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear from him. I don't want to hear about his victory. Good on you, Rennie. But of course, you do you. Whatever you think's right. Check out Gliderol Garage Doors' new Timberlook Native Series sectional doors. Gliderol.com.au.
At Lendlease Retirement Living, we create places to live well. That's why our retirement villages are designed with your well-being in mind. From friendly neighbours and social activities to surroundings that inspire an active life, you'll discover the joy of belonging to a community that cares. It's more than just somewhere to live. It's a lifestyle that supports you to thrive. retirementbylendlease.com.au. Your place to live well.
When it comes to home insurance, APIA's Home Excess Free Glass option means you can have things like windows, shower and pool screens repaired or replaced without paying an excess.
The cat just broke the window.
And now it's free for 1 year with a new eligible APIA home building insurance policy, so little accidents are a little less trouble. That's APIA value for you. Call us today on 13 50 50. Offer ends 1st of August, covers fixed glass only. T's and C's apply. APIA is an authorised representative of the product issuer AAI Limited. Read the PDS and TMD. Call for copies.
At Hearing Australia, we make hearing easy. That's our promise. Whoever you are and whatever your hearing needs, we take the guesswork out of finding the right hearing solution for you. With an extensive range of devices to suit any budget and the option to try before you buy for 14 days. Hearing Australia, celebrating 75 years. Call 134-HEAR, that's 134-432, or go to hearing.com.au. Conditions apply under the Australian Government Hearing Services Program.
From May 29 to June 10, 2022, there'll be road closures along Torrens Road and Churchill Road. Detours are in place. Visit ptpa.com.au/Ovingham Crossing for more. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A motorcyclist has been clocked doing 150 in a 60 zone. The bike was spotted by Polaire in the western suburbs just before 11:30 last night. They tracked it to Mawson Lakes, where it stopped in a car park off Waterhouse Lane. The 24-year-old rider has been charged with 3 counts of drive at extreme speed, as well as driving disqualified, unregistered, uninsured and displaying false plates. He'll front court later this month. The Honda has been impounded for 28 days. A climate emergency has been declared in South Australia, Labor's motion passing Parliament last night. We're the first Australian state to adopt such a declaration. Environment Minister Susan Close says it acknowledges the government's commitment to climate change.
Both houses of Parliament have declared that we are in a climate emergency, which is simply the truth, but we're the first state parliament to say it.
The Albanese front bench will be sworn in today as the party secures an absolute majority in federal parliament. Michael Packey is in Canberra.
Labor is taking a team into government that it largely had in opposition. There are a few changes. Claire O'Neill takes on the mega portfolio of Home Affairs. She's one of 19 women to be promoted, either into Cabinet, the Outer Ministry, or made an Assistant Minister. They'll be sworn in later this morning, along with other winners such as Jason Clare, who's been promoted to Education Minister, while Richard Marles takes on Defence as expected. Labor also believes it now has secured an absolute majority of 77 seats.
Ukrainian officials say they've identified more than 600 Russian war crime suspects and have started prosecuting about 80 of them. The International Criminal Court is working toward opening an office in Kiev to support the investigations into allegations. A new study has found a link between walking slower and an increased risk of dementia. Brady Evans has more.
Researchers tracked the walking speed of nearly 17,000 people over the age of 65 every 2 years over a 6-year period. Measurements of their cognition, such as memory and verbal fluency, were also taken. The results show a decline in both walking speed and cognition is a strong predictor of future dementia. Researchers suggest simple memory and walking speed testing would enable doctors to identify a person's risk of developing the condition and introduce preventative measures early. The study is one of the largest in the field of identifying future markers of dementia.
There's no verdict yet in the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard defamation trial, but while the jury deliberates, the pirates have arrived. A giant ship emblazoned with Captain Jack Sparrow's face has been parked outside the courthouse in Virginia. It's a show of support for Depp, who was the star of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, before his former wife accused him of domestic violence. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide is no certainty to regain Josh Rochelle for this Saturday's clash against West Coast at Adelaide Oval. He's still recovering from a corky which kept him out of last week's clash against Geelong. Well, the AFL Tribunal will sit tonight to hear the Swans' defence of Lance Franklin's striking charge. Franklin was handed a 1-game suspension for striking Richmond's Trent Cotchin. That was during the second quarter on Friday night. Meantime, Hawthorn's Jarman Impey has elected to challenge his charge through a written submission to the Tribunal. That decision will be revealed today. And Nat Fyfe is finally set to return from injury, but it won't be in the AFL. The Dockers skipper will play for about 90 minutes for the Peel Thunder as the Waffle side takes on Subiaco on Saturday. To basketball, the Opals have gone down in the third match of their 3-game friendly series against Japan. A tight contest from start to finish saw both sides with an even chance. However, Japan prevailed in the end 69-67. Opals debutante Anneli Mailey told ESPN, regardless, it's a night she'll never forget.
It was a bit of a surreal feeling. I mean, I wish we got the win, but they're a really talented team, Japan, and I think for my first Opals experience to be playing against a team like that, it was pretty special.
And games are now on serve in the second set of the quarter-final clash between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic at the French Open. Now, Nadal took the first set 6-2 and had a double break of serve in the second set, but Djokovic has since fought back and won 4 straight games and now leads 4-3 in the second. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au.
15 and cloudy today, 15 tomorrow, then Friday showers and 16. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Introducing the Drive Car of the Year.
The all-new Kia Sportage. Awarded for its new turbo engine that gives you progressive performance. The Kia Sportage has a boldly sculpted sportsback design and soft touch leather interior, making it a natural leader. Kia Sportage, the drive car of the year. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or visit your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Have you thought about where your face mask was made? Remember, not all face masks are made the same. So when it comes to protecting yourself and your family, think PPE Tech. 100% Australian owned and made. PPE Tech manufactures P2 face masks that comfortably seal to your face and filter more than 98% of particles. Now is the time to protect all Australians and support Aussie-made products. Order online to receive up to 40% off and free delivery at ppetech.com.au. That's ppetech.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 7. We got a lot of texts on the Automasters text line. We might get to some of those in a moment on 0480 1395. Before we do that, we're off to the UK. Our UK correspondent, Vincent McAviney's on the line. Good morning to you, Vincent.
Good morning.
More trouble for Boris Johnson.
Yeah, that's right. He thought that he'd got over the worst of the problems last week when the Sue Gray report came out. But over the weekend, there were allegations of yet another party for his birthday in 2020 in the flat inside number 10 Downing Street. The Prime Minister's spokesperson didn't deny that this event took place, but claimed that Sue Gray had seen text messages relating to it but didn't investigate. That has stopped the end of the Partygate saga, which the Prime Minister was striving to do. He put out an emergency financial statement on Thursday with billions of pounds being spent to try and help people with the cost of living crisis. But he's now back this week in the thick of the Partygate allegations. And yesterday he had two more MPs publicly call for him to go. Today, another former senior member of the government also calling for him to go. And a lot of MPs this week, it's a parliamentary recess, they're back in their constituencies, having to face the voters for the first time properly since this report went out. And many of them finding out that the Prime Minister's popularity has really fallen, and they'll be doing some deep thinking as to whether or not it's time to pull the plug on his leadership.
And Vincent, to a party of a much more pleasant and welcome kind, the Queen is back at Windsor ahead of her Platinum Jubilee this coming weekend.
Yeah, that's right. It's a 4-day weekend this weekend here in the UK for the Platinum Jubilee. There's a full calendar of events, including the Trooping of the Colour. There's a service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's. There's a big pop concert with the likes of Elton John, Diana Ross, Ed Sheeran on Saturday night, and the Derby horse race as well. And then on Sunday, a national festival which has thousands of street parties up and down the country to celebrate. So after what's been a very hard 2.5 years, the nation finally sort of trying to get together and celebrating. And we'll see, though, the difficult side of it all, because Harry and Meghan are also back in the country for it. But also more of a concern, what is Prince Andrew going to do? We saw at the recent festival of service of remembrance to his late father, Duke of Edinburgh, he broke with the pre-arranged agreement and led his mother all the way up the aisle to her seat, trying to sort of, some people say, reclaim a front spot in the royal family in an active role. But there are real concerns that he might try and do the same thing this week. So there'll be a plan to try to keep him off the balcony and from the front of the public event.
And lastly, Vincent, construction's begun on the what will become the longest railway bridge in England.
Yeah, that's what I was doing today. HS2, which was the rail line, which is going to cost around sort of 70-80 billion pounds. It goes from London originally. Yeah, it was originally going to go from London right up through the centre of the country, all the way to Edinburgh and Glasgow. But as the nation's finances have taken a hit in the last couple of years, it's been scaled down, and so it's just going to Birmingham, and then it might go to Manchester. All the other routes that it was going to go have been shut down. But yeah, today I was at a sort of big building site in the countryside where they're both boring underground these huge tunnels, but also building the longest rail bridge in the United Kingdom for this new train project. There's still a lot of controversy around it, but it was a pretty impressive big structural project.
Did you say, Vincent, 70 to 80 billion pounds?
Oh, I did, yeah, and it's gone up. So initially it was going to be about 50 billion, and now they're saying it's 70 to 80 million. And this is it on a downscaled site. This is only doing half of what it was meant to do. And we know in Britain, the rail projects, last week we had Crossrail finally open, the Elizabeth line. That went billions of pounds over budget as well in the end and was 4 years late. So, this HS2 has kind of been a real controversial issue for the government. They can't today, they wouldn't really give me an end date for when it would be done. They think it will be about 2034, and that's just the first phase to Birmingham. It's also originally, the name HS2 is meant to be High Speed 2, sort of a Japanese-style rapid train line. That's completely gone out the window. We can't afford that technology, even though, as I say, that it's 70 to 80 billion pounds worth this network.
Gee, we only spend that kind of money on nuclear submarines from you guys or the US, Vincent. No, not so much on trains. That's remarkable. Thank you for that. Vincent McAviney, our UK correspondent. So right now, the exchange rate, 70 billion pounds sterling would be about just under 123 billion Australian dollars.
I'm looking at it here on my Google currency converter. There's too many numbers, like I can't process them. It says 140 billion, 518 million, 589,760 $760. That is staggering, isn't it?
I'm just trying to think, has anything in Australian history been that expensive? So the submarines is what, 90 billion?
The Snowy Mountain Scheme or the Sydney Harbour Bridge, wouldn't it, in modern dollars? That'd be the two most expensive things in Australia, wouldn't they?
So 1974, the Snowy Mountain Scheme was $820 million. We'd have to
820 million?
Yeah, 820 million.
What was the cost of building the Harbour Bridge?
1.5 billion.
1.5 billion in today's money.
That's what the Snowy Mountain Scheme is. Sydney Harbour was 1.5 billion in today's money.
Put it in its local context.
Well, that's nothing.
That's didn't the new RA cost 2 billion?
Yeah, just over 2.
Yeah, so that's 70 RAs. 70.
Wow, that's mind-boggling. Well,
the South Road upgrade's 9 billion.
Yes, but that.
Well, at the moment it is. Didn't Cootes announce yesterday they're starting the whole process again? The consultation process is restarting.
Is that just for that last bit, though, where they've got to tell people they need to buy the homes?
Yeah, or sell them or have them knocked down? Well, I'd like to hear from Glandore residents.
Yes.
Because this became a huge issue, and it's one of the reasons why Corey Wingard is no more. His handling of that, more so the local issue that got him was the Hove crossing. But the perception that Corey was struggling a bit as minister was one of the big things was the way the Glandore stretch of the upgrade was being handled. So who knows? Like people are going to have to go back through this process of uncertainty all over again.
Sounds like it. 16 to 7. We're going to get to some of your texts on the Automasters text line in just a moment. First, we'll check traffic.
Good morning, gents. Jebs Cross, urgent electrical works there. Grand Junction Road near Boulderstone Road. It's down to one lane both directions. That'll get pretty busy throughout the peak. Avoid if you can. At McGill, intersection upgrade works there. McGill Road near St Bernard's Road, affecting both directions. And Belair, keep an eye out for trenching works today. That's Main Road near Manouta Drive. That's affecting both directions. A few cameras about for the drive-in too. Tapley's Hill Road, Glenelg North, and West Beach Road at West Beach. Feel the heat at SA's Fastest Supercars Race, OTR The Bend Super Sprint, July 29 till 31 at the Bend Motorsport Park. Get your tickets now at Ticketek. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Last month, we serviced around 11,000 vehicles, more than 3,000 Toyotas, Camrys, Corollas, Land Cruisers, 2,000 Mitsubishis, Tritons, Outlanders, Pajeros, over 500 VWs. That's right, over 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters or book online. All centres offer repair now, pay later options. So switch and save with Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
need. Can you believe it? It's the end of financial year already, and the team at Edwardstown Mazda are loving it because the savings they can pass on are outstanding. Drive away in a new Mazda CX-30 from $33,297 and the all-new CX-5 from $36,209 drive away. And no matter where you live in Adelaide, Edwardstown Mazda is easy to get to at 862 South Road, Edwardstown. End of financial year sale on now. LMVD 207428.
Hello, I'm Susie Ellman, broadcaster and a Connect Hearing client and ambassador, and I'm asking the team what they think makes Connect Hearing so special.
We listen to our clients and take the time to help you understand your hearing loss, so you get what you need exactly tailored to your lifestyle.
That's gold, and that's why Connect Hearing's been awarded gold from FIVEaa for consistent high-quality service. For gold service audiology, book your free consult at connecthearing.com.au.
I want to be a teacher. Those are the words of 8-year-old Anna, a little girl with a dream for her future. The only thing standing in her way is poverty. 1 in 6 Australian children are living in poverty right now. Many don't have everything they need for school, and may never reach their potential. With your help, Anna can access extra learning support to keep up at school and build the future she deserves. Search the Smith family and donate today.
Last month, around 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
30 minutes to 7. Let's talk about the weather. Vince Rowland, senior forecaster at the Bureau's on the line. Morning to you, Vince.
Morning, guys.
Pretty wild old day yesterday, Vince. It seems a little bit calmer and a little bit warmer today, though.
Yeah, look, it does. Yeah, it's quite a lot of shower activity around yesterday. Only got a couple of millimetres over most parts of the metro area, but a bit more up in the hills, and still had a bit of wind around yesterday, but things easing off. Still had the odd shower around this morning, but looking at the radar, it looks like that's all starting to ease off, so maybe just the odd shower around for next couple of hours. We should see things fining up as we head into the afternoon, but certainly a pretty chilly start to today. Got down to 7.9 degrees not that long ago, sitting at 8.4 at the moment. We are going for a top of 15 degrees today, but probably feel a bit cooler with that cloud hanging around, and just the southwesterly winds getting up to about 20 kilometres an hour this morning. So just pretty cool day today. But as we head into tomorrow, not really much changing as far as temperatures go. Got an overnight low of 8 up to 15 tomorrow. Still a reasonable amount of cloud around, but could see some activity as far as showers go coming through in the evening, just drifting down from the north ahead of a trough that is expected to move across from the west during Friday. So as we head into Friday, we are expecting a reasonable amount of shower activity to come through associated with that trough in the afternoon and evening. So could see, maybe another 5 millimetres of rainfall across the city as we head into the evening on Friday. But it's really over the weekend that we are going to see a return to quite a bit of shower activity and slightly cooler conditions. We've got a couple of fronts moving across the south of the state, so a pretty wet day on Saturday, top of 15. Could see some local falls getting into that sort of 10 to 20 millimetre range, so it could be pretty wet on Saturday. And then a bit cooler on Sunday with 14. Again, some reasonable shower activity around, maybe up to 10 to 15 millimetres before we start to see an easing on Monday, but still a reasonable amount of shower activity around, top of 15, and then really easing back on Tuesday with a top of 15. So not looking too bad as far as rainfall goes the next couple of days, but certainly as we head into Friday and over the weekend, you want to get ready for some further shower activity to move across the city. It could be a couple of wet days there on the weekend.
Sounds like it. Good on you, Vince. Thanks for that, mate.
Vince Rowland, senior forecaster at the Bureau. Let's go to SOPOL. Senior Constable Dave Muir's on the line. Dave, you've caught an extreme speed motorbike situation.
We have. Good morning. This was just before 11:30 last night. Polly was up and about, spotted a motorcycle travelling at 150 kilometres an hour in a 60 kilometre hour zone on Tapley's Hill Road in the western suburbs. Now, Polly followed that rider through a number of suburbs until it stopped in a car park off Waterhouse Lane at Mawson Lakes. Patrols were directed to that location where they arrested the 34-year-old rider from West Highmarsh. He's been charged with 3 counts of driver at extreme speed, drive disqualified, unregistered, uninsured, and displaying a false plate. He's been bailed to appear in the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court later this month, and his motorcycle's now impounded for 28 days.
And Dave, also the mysterious and tragic death of Peter Hillier at Venus Bay. It sounds like SAPOL has pieced all of this together, and you've now made an arrest and charged a bloke with murder over it.
Yeah, that's right. Look, just after 11 a.m. on Monday, that's when we were called to Sandham Street, Venus Bay, after the body of a 64-year-old man from the mid-north coast region of New South Wales was found inside. Now, that deceased man has been identified as 64-year-old Peter Hillier, who was reported missing in New South Wales back earlier in May of this year. Now, we had made an appeal to the public asking for some additional information. We know that he purchased a motorhome in Adelaide approximately a month ago with the intention of travelling around Australia with an acquaintance. They had been in Venus Bay for about a month. During that time, they'd stayed at several holiday rental accommodation properties. The acquaintance had reported that they'd been fishing at Streaky Bay and Port Lincoln on Sunday the 29th of May, and they'd been involved in some sort of motor vehicle incident on the Flinders Highway later that day. Now, we are appealing for anyone who has seen Mr Hillier or the motorhome after 7 a.m. on Sunday the 29th of May, and more generally with respect to his whereabouts since leaving New South Wales, to give police a call. We do have some images on our news website and on our Facebook page with respect to what that motorhome looks like. We're also appealing for anyone with dash cam footage from the Flinders Highway or the surrounding roads on Sunday the 29th of May to contact police. So anyone with information, as always, give us a call at Crime Stoppers, please, 1800 333 000. Or you can always visit the Crime Stoppers website, www.crimestoppersa.gov.au.
Good on you, Dave. Thank you for that. Senior Constable Dave Muir from SAPOL. Have a look outside at the moment. It's dark out there.
Yeah.
20 days away from the shortest day of the year, and it feels like it. 7:14 will be sunrise this morning, so we're still, just over 20 minutes away. And it feels like it's a long way away. It's a dark start on this Wednesday morning.
I was out there with Sam having a look at the sun slowly making its way towards the hills at 6:30, and it looked like there was a nice orange glow. It looks like it might be a reasonably pretty sunrise. But yeah, the days are certainly getting a heck of a lot shorter. Well, the school year has been a heck of a lot shorter for kids over the last 2 years with all of the interruptions due to COVID. The start of this year was chaos in our house, I know. There were two different periods of isolation, putting all the kids, primary school level and high school level, in our family back into work from home mode, and openly admit, being a more affluent family with access to technology, it's been surmountable, if annoying. What's it actually meant, though, for people who don't have, 4 iPads lying around the house? Graham Jeske is the General Manager of the Smith Family, excellent organisation that helps kids get equal education opportunities, even though they've been, often brought up on the wrong side of the tracks. Graham, you've done some really interesting research, surveying about 1,100 parents and carers about the ongoing impact of COVID on their kids' learning.
Yeah, we regularly talk to our parents. And we found that 2/3 of our parents reported that COVID made starting school difficult this year, and over half said it was continuing to make school difficult for their children. And the families we support, disadvantaged families throughout Australia, invariably start school behind. So they're already behind, and then they're getting disrupted schooling. So that's why it's so important that we can put forward our long-term support and our long-term program learning support.
Hey, Graham, I'm sorry to cut you off. We've got a really, really bad line here. I don't know if it's worth us trying to quickly ring you back, but what Graham was saying then, Some of the findings from this survey, I've got it here. More than half of parents said that COVID was continuing to make learning difficult for their children. Among the issues that they reported were, a lot of them just went to general anxiety and worry about getting COVID. The fact that their class had been totally upended by the fact that so many of their peers had got COVID and had to disappear. Also, the social impact and educational impact of missing school due to being unwell or being put back into isolation and having disrupted routines and disrupted connections between children, parents and teachers. One of the things that has been really disruptive in a social sense for kids, and it's only just started to go back to normal now after 2 years, is school sport as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's one area where, particularly for kids who are sort of starting to get their own friendship group, having that pulled out from under you has big impact. Hey Graham, we've got you back on the line. I just gave a bit of a précis of some of the findings of this survey. So how a lot of people would say, well, surely we're at a point now where a lot of classrooms, every kid's had COVID, so we're all sort of back to normal and back into it. What are the lingering effects, particularly for people on low incomes?
Oh, it's not just the lingering effects. It's for our work. We've been struggling in the first term, at least, to get any programs run in the schools because, they were just handling, as you said, lots of isolation, lots of COVID cases, a lack of teachers. So we've had a disrupted year just with our program support. And when it comes to families, they're still very concerned about the schooling. I've got one child in ISO today, so that homeschooling, don't really feel confident about giving support to their kids when they're at home. So there's a whole heap of things that are building up to these families. And as I said, my phone didn't work very well, but ultimately a lot of our disadvantaged students actually start school behind.
Yeah.
So every day is important, and that long-term support is very important. And we're just getting back into all the schools now to run those learning and mentoring programs that are just so important to help them catch up, but even more important now with COVID because they've even fallen further behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Graham Jeske, the General Manager of the Smith Family NSA. And look, this survey coincides with the launch of the Smith Family's 2022 Winter Appeal. The aim is to raise 5.4 million nationally, and in SA, $230,000 to support 550 disadvantaged students. So if anyone can help, jump onto their website and dig in.
2 minutes to 7, coming up in the next half hour on 5AA Breakfast. We'll bring in an expert to tell you how to become a Trivia Challenge superstar.
Attention dilly-dalliers. If you thought you'd run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, listen to this. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is about to receive truckloads of new Volkswagens, and they're available at amazing end of financial year prices. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Visit your nearest Lordman & Pank store to receive up to 50% off selected prescription glasses and sunglasses. Don't miss out. This offer must end June 19. Further T's and C's apply. See staff for details. Lordman & Pank. We care for eyes.
Hi, it's Callum Han here, Ambassador for Pick a Local Pick SA. If you're looking for quality fruit and veg from someone you can trust, go to those who know, your local fruit and veg store. They're the ones at the market before dawn, selecting the freshest produce from SA growers. They know what's in season, the best varieties for cooking, and have an eye for quality. Shop in stores displaying the red Pick a Local Pick SA sign, and follow us on Facebook for inspiration, recipes, and more ways to enjoy South Australian grown.
Car buyers don't expect to find a prestige vehicle at a backyard dealership. The same goes for real estate.
Toop and Toop's Bronte Manual explains why it's so important to choose the right real estate agency.
Whether you're selling homes or cars, the reputation of the business brokering the deal has a big impact on the final selling price. If you want a premium service and a premium result, you need to work with a premium agency.
Adelaide is currently experiencing strong selling conditions. Is it fair to say any agency could sell your property?
Sure, demand is still outweighing supply in Adelaide, creating a lot of buyer competition. But our expertise
has been critical in achieving record sales in Toorak Gardens, Colonel Light Gardens and Woodville Park in recent weeks.
If you'd like to find out if your home could be the next record breaker, Toop and Toop have a proven record of setting new standards.
We've been helping Adelaide buyers and sellers for almost 40 years. That's why so many South Australians look to us for real estate advice.
Go to toop.com.au to find out more.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
It was a busy night for firefighters south of the city. A two-storey house on Sunset Court at O'Sullivan Beach went up in flames shortly before 1 a.m. The occupants escaped unhurt. It caused significant damage to the property. Half an hour later, the alarm was raised at Shido Park. Crystal Mitchell from the MFS says they were called to a shed fire at a home on Clare Court.
Fire crews contained the fire to the shed, preventing it spreading to an attached house and surrounding premises. All occupants had evacuated. The shed is completely destroyed and fire cause investigators will be attending this morning to determine the damage and cause.
There was a car and motorbike in the shed. It's not believed the fires are linked. A motorcyclist has been clocked 90 k's over the speed limit west of the city. Senior Constable Dave Muir says the bike came to their attention around 11:30 last night.
Pollier was up and about, spotted a motorcycle travelling at 150 kilometres an hour in a 60 kilometre hour zone on Tapley's Hill Road in the western suburbs. Pollier followed that rider through a number of suburbs until it stopped in a car park off Waterhouse Lane at Mawson Lakes.
The 34-year-old rider has been charged with a range of offences, including driving at extreme speed, disqualified and unregistered. He'll appear in court later this month. A climate emergency declaration passed State Parliament last night. The motion received support from the Greens and state opposition. Environment Minister Susan Close says it reaffirms the urgent need to decarbonise the economy and shift to renewable sources of energy.
Last year I tabled a petition of over 10,000 signatures of South Australians who say we need to declare a climate emergency and we need to act. And we've been able to do that thanks to the Malinowskis government.
The Prime Minister says he's taking the most experienced team into government that Labor has ever had. The new federal ministers will be sworn into their portfolios this morning. Anthony Albanese says he's proud a record 19 women will either enter Cabinet, the Outer Ministry, or have been made an Assistant Minister. A major clean-up is underway in the US state of Minnesota after two twisters left a trail of destruction. Winds reached up to 130 k's an hour, damaging hundreds of homes and businesses. There are no reports of death or injuries. The Queen has returned to Windsor Castle ahead of celebrations for her Platinum Jubilee. Brett McLeod is in London.
The 96-year-old monarch is on the move more now than she has been for months. She spent the last few days at her Scottish estate, Balmoral, before jetting back to London, where she was driven into her home at Windsor. Britain is getting into full Jubilee mode, with 4 days of colourful celebrations to mark the Queen's 70th year on the throne, beginning tomorrow, when tens of thousands are expected outside Buckingham Palace to see Her Majesty lead members of her family onto the balcony.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
And with a tennis update, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yeah, this French Open quarter-final clash between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic has all the hallmarks of another classic as it enters the third set. Now, Nadal won the first set 6-2 and was cruising with a double break of serve in the second set. But the world number one Djokovic hit back, taking 6 of the next 7 games to take that second set 6-4 and level the match at a set apiece. On the women's side of the draw, American Coco Gauff is into the semi-finals after a straight sets win against fellow American Sloane Stephens, while Italy's Martina Trevisan has also won through after getting past Canada's Leila Fernandez in 3 sets. Let's go to football now, and the AFL mid-season draft will be held tonight with much attention on what the two SA clubs will do. The Crows have pick 4 while the Power comes in at pick number 8. Meantime, Essendon Chief Executive Xavier Campbell is defending the club's mid-season review of the football department, saying there's nothing unusual about the process.
This is almost part of a normal process when you get to the mid-season, midpoint of a year. And what has changed from last time to now is we haven't reached the position or the level that we believe we could have. And forget the wins and losses for a minute, because that's obviously not what 2-9 is certainly not where you want to be.
And in some basketball news to finish, the deciding match in the Opals Japan series has gone down to the wire in Newcastle. The visitors escaping with the win, 69-67, to take out that series 2-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Jebbs Cross, urgent electrical works there. Grand Junction Road near Boulderstone Road. Down to one lane and going to get pretty busy throughout the morning. Seeing some delays there already at the moment. Avoid it if you can. At McGill, intersection upgrade works there. McGill Road near St Bernard's Road and Belair. Keep an eye out for trenching works that are continuing today. Main Road near Manouta Drive. Busy at the moment. Grange Road, Crittenden Road to East Avenue with cameras Stockwell Road, Angaston and Tapley's Hill Road, Acklenhills North. Enjoy your favourite Mexican food with Guzmani Gomez and save. Score yourself burritos and bowls for just $9.90. Yes, just $9.90 when you order via the GYG app. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au.
It's going to be a cloudy Wednesday with a top of 15, cloudy tomorrow 15, Friday showers and 16. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Seven after 7, fans of The Chase will know the Shark, Bryden Coverdale, is going to join us shortly. He released a book that is out now about becoming a trivia guru, the sort of obsession that leads to it. It's called The Quizmasters, and looking forward to that chat coming up very shortly. Stephen Rowe before 7:30, then after 7:30 today. Pete McDonald from the Samry is doing a walk for charity, 21 Ks around the Samry today.
Is it around Samry or is it around the roof of the Samry? The floor. Oh, good. I was going to be on the roof. So they were originally going to walk
right.
21 kilometres, which is like hundreds of laps of the Samry roof. I wouldn't get up there on a clear day, but they've changed it because of the wind and more so the inclement nature of the weather.
I reckon you'd want to jog out the first 2 Ks today just to get a little bit of body warmth happening.
Well, you might.
It's going to be cool.
You're the runner here, mate.
Oh, yeah.
You're the Robert D. Costello of this duo.
Monaghetti Goodings, they always have called me.
Yeah, William Gabriel Selassie, they call him.
That genuinely has made radio history. That's the least appropriate comparisons ever been made between two human beings in recorded history. We will talk about that after 7:30 today, and also celebrate World Milk Day by speaking with Nick Hutchinson from the excellent local Fleurier Milk Company. But let's get into some of the stories of the day, starting with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announcing his full cabinet.
This is an exciting team. It's a team which is overflowing, I think, with talent, with people who are absolutely committed to making a difference as ministers and assistant ministers in my government. This is the largest number of women who have ever served in an Australian cabinet, with 10 women in the cabinet. In addition to that, in terms of the ministry, there are 13 women in the ministry and 19 front benches, a record number in all 3 categories for women's representation in cabinet, in ministry and in front bench positions.
Significant for South Australian inclusions too, with Amanda Rishworth being given a promotion to become the new Social Services Minister. Penny Wong was obviously already announced as the Foreign Minister. Mark Butler will become the new Health and Aged Care Minister. Don Farrell gets a suite of positions, including Trade and Tourism and Special Minister of State.
You think about how elections are remembered historically. So 98 was the GST election, 2001 post-September 11 was the national security election. 04, Howard made it all about interest rates and economic management versus the instability of Latham. Then 07 was the Rudd landslide. History will record this as the women's election. The role women played at the ballot box and in the parliamentary chamber, this is never seen before in this country. All of the Teal independents who won were women. The big collapse in the vote for the coalition was on the female side of the equation. And we're now seeing that Labor, whether you agree with affirmative action or not, and there's a lot of Liberals who still don't, they clearly need, if they're not going to embrace affirmative action, they're going to have to agree, force a whole bunch of old blokes to agree to just POQ and replace them with women. Because clearly there's a lot of voters who want the parliament to reflect the community that it's meant to serve. And I think, this is not to say anything about how they're going to perform in their various ministerial roles, but there'd be a lot of women listening to this show going, well, I like the fact that this looks more like Australia.
Yeah, we got a text from John on the Automasters text line saying, what's your opinion on the big deal Albo's making about having a 50-50 gender split? John says it shouldn't matter if it's 70% women, 30% men or vice versa. Shouldn't just be the best person for the job like any other business. I think the argument that Anthony Albanese will make right now is that by virtue of the policies they put in place previously to get more women in Parliament, they can now pick on merit a team that's 50-50.
Yeah, that's
as
right.
opposed to having to force it. I think that's the point that he would make now. And
like you think about some of the blokes who've just been down there at state parliament for decades, seriously, particularly in the upper house.
Oh my goodness, Sleepy Hollow.
It is. A lot of these guys get pre-selected for the ledge code because if they went out door knocking, they'd scare children if they answered the door. And like the argument, surely it should be the best person for the job. Well, yeah, okay, it should be. But history shows that the best person for the job is almost always a bloke, and almost, in many cases, a bloke who's not actually any good. He just knows the right people.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of women saying there's women.
So organic growth doesn't get you there.
That's right. Meritorious women have been missing out for a long, long time.
Yeah,
and that's the point that people don't get. I actually think a lot of Legco members are pre-selected on the basis of how good they are as a lunch companion.
I reckon that's probably right.
I'm not actually joking.
He's a good bloke.
He's a good bloke. Yeah. No, it'll be good. We'll get him into the formal room, and it'll be great. We'll get a couple of reds into him. Magnificent. Excellent. Speaking of state parliament, they declared an emergency yesterday.
By itself, it doesn't change anything, except for one thing. It tells the truth. And that actually does matter. That is more than mere symbolism.
Without quarantining the Environment Department from cuts, all this talk about a climate emergency is just gesture and virtue signalling.
So that was Susan Close from the Labor Party declaring the climate emergency and making the point that while in and of itself it doesn't change anything, she said that it's important that the Parliament tells the truth. David Spears and the Liberals try to actually put a little bit of meat on the bone and say, okay, if you're going to declare an emergency, let's include some things like, and of course David Spears was a really effective Environment Minister, not cutting the Environment Department, enshrining that some of their capacity to do things pro-environment are held there. Labor and the Greens, bizarrely, partnered up to make sure that wasn't a component of it. So, look, I mean, great, there's an emergency. Feels to me like...
They might as well hold a rock and roll of Stedford where they'll dance around,
it's
holding a paper-mache model of planet Earth.
Colossal waste of time.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It is an opportunity to backslap.
It's the sort of thing you should do in Year 9, as opposed to when you've been elected to run the state.
It's the kind of thing local government does and we laugh at them.
Yep. Yeah, well, the idea started, I think, in local government, didn't it?
Climate emergencies. I guess the planet will stop warming sometime soon.
That's right.
Is it going to be in this term of
by
government?
About 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Sorry,
at least we got that sorted.
A bit cynical, but
guilty as
charged.
It is. If you're looking to travel anytime soon, you might have to get onto the whole passport situation. South Australians could face a 12-week wait to get a new passport. Here's Dean Long who's the CEO of travel agents.
From our travel agencies across Adelaide and South Australia, we're hearing delays of up to 3 months, which is significantly longer than the typical 6 to 8 week waiting time. So what we're definitely saying to anybody who's looking to go on a cruise or an international holiday, before you pick your destination, double check your passport, make sure you've got at least 6 months left on that from your date of return, and make sure you've got that checked in place, because there is quite a significant delay. Effectively, during COVID, we just forgot to check our passports because we weren't using them. So what we found is each year there was anywhere between 500,000 to 1 million passports a year being renewed, and what we're trying to do now is fit over 2 years worth of renewals into this 3 to 6 month period. So there is a particular bottleneck now, but we know when we get towards the end of the year and into next year, that'll start to make it a little bit easier, and we'll get back within that standard processing time.
I bet we've got listeners who've had that horrible feeling. You turn up to the airport, you look at the passport, and suddenly realise it expired last month.
Well, it's amazing. Like for the amount of people who would normally travel, and Australians are by world standards fanatical overseas travellers. A huge number of Aussies have gone overseas to Fiji or to Bali, Vanuatu. But I reckon there'd be a lot of people like, oh yeah, let's go, cruises are back. It's like, oh, hang on a minute, where is the passport?
Have you ever got or lost your passport? 8223 You can text us on the Automasters text line as well. I lost mine once in Germany. We left it in a hotel room.
Oh, really?
Is it a total nightmare? Speaking of being a runner, David, there was a lot of running that went on that day. I can tell you, from one small regional town to a train platform. I looked like something at the end of a rom-com, except there wasn't. It was a passport on the end of it, not everlasting love. And I went from the train to back to...
You weren't chasing Andy McDowell, were you, Will?
To Berlin, to a hotel room, ran
Was it
back.
raining, Will? I didn't even notice.
It was snowing, is what it was.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. No, that was a miserable day. 16 after 7, we're going to check traffic, and we're going to talk quizzes in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At Enfield, got a crash, Main North Road near Grand Junction Road. Sturt, got another crash there, Marion Road near Sturt Road, intersection blocked in all directions. Take some care if you're heading through there. Jeps Cross, urgent electrical works, Grand Junction Road near Balderstone Road, down to one lane both directions. That'll remain busy throughout the morning. Avoid it if you can. And we're busy right now, South Road at Edwardstown. Look out for a camera as well, Murray Street at Tanunda. NAB Equipment Finance can help you to make ideas more. Search NAB Equipment Finance today. NAB, more than money. T's and C's and lending criteria apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The Isuzu D-Max is born to rock. With DAB Plus digital radio, integrated voice command and wireless Apple CarPlay as standard across the range. Hurry to your local Isuzu Ute dealer today.
What makes Connect Hearing so special?
We really listen to you, so you get what you need, tailored to your lifestyle.
That's gold. And that's why we've been awarded gold from FIVEaa for our service. Try us at connecthearing.com.au.
Over 1,100 people are killed on Australian roads each year, and thousands more are seriously injured.
With 7 in 10 road users admitting to breaking the road rules.
It's time to be the change you want to see on the road.
We're asking all Australians to focus on road safety in the lead up to Fatality Free Friday.
Together, we can save thousands of families
from a lifetime of grief.
Join us by taking and living the Australian Road Safety Foundation pledge to choose road safety.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A walk is an amazing thing. All it really involves is putting one foot in front of the other. But spend a little time doing it and you'll make a big difference to the way you feel. If you can find just 10 minutes a day, that's less than the time it takes to play Bohemian Rhapsody twice. You'll end up in a better place, even if you only go around the block. A walk can work wonders. So start with 10 minutes today.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
Oh yes, the Chase theme song. Entirely appropriate. Well, I've got a lot of Chase aspirants out there, or people that sit at home and get all the questions right. We'd like to hear from you if that's the case. 8223 0000. The Shark is about to join us. Real name, Bryden Coverdale, who is not joining us in his capacity just as Quizmaster, but indeed as author. He's written a book called The Quizmasters, Inside the World of Trivia, Obsession and $1 Million Prizes. Bryden Coverdale, good morning to you.
Hello, good to be with you.
Now, Bryden, the thing that really interests me about you, mate, is you almost approach the collection of trivia and facts and knowledge as in the same way other people approach going about a job. Like, you sort of went full-time in the trivia department, didn't you?
Well, I did. I mean, I didn't know that it was ever possible to do that, and it probably wasn't until the chase came along, but it was always a pretty obsessive kind of hobby, I suppose, and I think that's what anyone does with a hobby or a sport or something that they're really interested in. They they probably treat it full-time, even though it's not.
But the source material is everything. It's so broad to get across all that. How do you train your mind to retain that information without, going spare?
Well, I mean, these days on the chase, I sort of have to because it's my job. So, I've got all my lists and, things that I need to brush up on. Like, there's certain things that change every year, so you got to keep up with current events and all that sort of stuff. And I sort of revise lists. I've got flashcard apps that I use to sort of write my own questions and stuff, so that what it does is it's almost like word association. So, you see, say, a country name, and then I just automatically, that's the capital. It's sort of this instantaneous kind of recognition thing.
Do you find, if you think about the human brain as being like a computer hard drive, there's only a finite amount of space. Do you find that there are some things in other aspects of your life that you struggle to remember? Like, do you know where your car keys are right now? That sort of stuff.
Well, yeah. Look, my wife would definitely tell you that it's pretty useless me knowing all the prime ministers of Australia if I'm as hopeless as I am at navigating in the car. For example.
Well, it's good to know someone you don't know everything. Yeah. Like, it's good to know you've got a weakness.
That's right. Exactly. Like, she'll go, "What are you in this lane for? Do you even know where you're going?"
It's become a really interesting thing, and I must admit, even with things like doing Wordle, like I'm 53, and I make a point now of doing Wordle every day, and there's apps, particularly for people in their late 60s and 70s. Like, there's a lot of evidence that you can actually ward off things like Alzheimer's and so forth by keeping yourself mentally agile, doing a little exercise every day. So you're probably putting yourself in good stead mentally for the long run.
Look, I hope so. I was always the sort of kid who liked, puzzles and crosswords and that sort of thing as well. So it's the same sort of thing. And actually, in the book as well, there's sort of throughout it, there's various quiz questions mentioned, and I sort of footnote the answers so you can actually sort of play along. So the book is sort of a quiz as well as being, the narrative story of things. So I just love, trivia and quizzes, and people seem to as well. I mean, you think about all the Australian quiz shows that have been so successful over a long period of time. So look, I hope we're all doing ourselves, a service for our old age.
You do the daily quiz in the Tiser and all the other papers around the country too, don't you? Yeah, because I often do that online. I always get stumped by a few of them, throwing a few curly ones.
Yeah, that's right. 100 questions a week I write for those, which it might not sound like much, but when you're doing it week after week after week, you go, this is actually pretty time-consuming.
It's fascinating stuff, Bryden. Bryden Coverdale, who is, of course, the shark on the chase, and the book is The Quizmasters, which is a memoir of how he played the game. It's out now in all bookstores and online.
Yeah, that does. And look, it might make the next generation of Quizmaster by reading the book.
Yeah,
we learn how to do it.
You can make a quid out of it.
Exactly right. It is. Some people just do have it's a bit like athleticism, isn't it? I think some people have a natural ability to retain information. You just make people who don't work at it.
So you've got that for sport, I reckon.
Not some areas.
Oh, you could name, like if I said, name the Crows' spine from the 05, 06 team. I reckon you could.
Oh, I'd have a crack at it, but I'm terrible with dates and things. Years. People go, that was the 07 summer, and I'll go, was it? I don't know. But it's weird.
You know what's interesting?
I guess time is, you apply time to something and you become an expert.
Reading Bryden's CV, before he became the Chaser, he spent 11 years as a cricket journo for ESPN Cricinfo. Cricinfo is a superb site.
Oh, my word.
But I think there's a certain type of mind design for cricket nuts. Like, I've got a couple of friends who they'll say, oh, that was 04-05 when Paul Collingwood made 213 in the first innings. And you go, what?
Yeah.
But there's like the Gideon Haig bloke in the Australian. You know, he's like Rain Man reading his copy. It's extraordinary.
Cricket does lend itself to stats nerds. All right, let's talk about sport now with Stephen Rowe. Book your service online, North Point Toyota, to win the cost back. It's the North Point way. We heard from his Crows mid-season grade yesterday. It was an F. Here's Port's on the program from last night.
It's simple. It's just a pass or a fail. Port is just a straight-out fail, a skinny F, if you like. They beat nobody, if you have a look. Started the season 0-5, and there were reasons for that. They set 5 wins, 6 losses. They beat the Eagles, St Kilda on the last kick of the game by a point. Bulldogs home was a solid win, probably their best for the year. Thump North. North stink. Eagles are second bottom and Essendon are third bottom. Just got over them. Yes, they've had injuries. Never ever used it as an excuse. And Ken is an absolute ripper. They're better than 11th. Expectations before round 1 was a top 4. Every coach, player, executive at Port, every board member, most fans, if not all, footy experts, including me, had them an absolute lock for top 8 and maybe even a lock for top 4 on the back of the last 2 years. So it has to be a fail.
Rory's done a good job too of plotting what the rest of the season looks like for Port, and interestingly, in terms of making the top 8, the showdown in round 23 looms really large. But I wonder what position they're ultimately playing for now, because the top 7 look like sides that you can't imagine any are going to drop out. Bulldogs are in 8th, and they're a side that you would have had top 4 previously. Level with Richmond, who are, they've certainly got the DNA, the premiership DNA in that team. So I wonder what's the ceiling now for Port. They're 2 games back from Sydney. It's only 1 game back from the Bulldogs, but there is a challenge to come over the course of the next month. 3 weeks' time, we'll know. But I wonder, is 7th the ceiling? Is 8th the ceiling? And I tend to think the reason Rowe's grade's correct is even if they get there, that doesn't make the season a pass for Port Adelaide, where the expectation was this was a team that needed to go beyond a prelim final to be satisfied. They needed to get over that hump, and you'd suggest from here it'd be something of a miracle to even get there again.
Well, when we did this exercise with Tom yesterday, maybe I was soft, but I gave him a C- because I thought you had to factor in the injuries at the start of the year. But what interested me was the response from Port fans, as you suggested it would be, Will, like our own Sam Daddo here. We're just shaking their heads at me going, no, mate, it's an F.
Yeah, that's right.
So there you go.
You don't want to be Molly College.
A cheerful assessment of our 2 local football teams, folks, from Rowe over the last 2 days.
How good's football?
That's right.
Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. 5AA News coming up. Back with more shortly.
Introducing the Wheels Car of the Year, the fully electric Kia EV6. Leading the charge with over 500 kilometres of driving range, newfound levels of technology, performance, build quality, refinement and luxury. The judges were unanimous. The Kia EV6, Wheels Car of the Year. To find out more, visit kia.com.au.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Are you looking for a better job? A job with more flexible shifts, salary packaging, and great learning opportunities? A job with a charity where you can make a difference to the lives of older people every day? Southern Cross Care has roles available across SA for nurses, carers, chefs, cleaners, allied health professionals, and more. Work with an amazing team who will care about you and help you build the career you want. Apply now at southerncrosscare.com.au.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions. After many incredible years, I've decided to hang up my Joyreen hat. Yes ladies, I'm retiring. This is your final chance to purchase quality garments at Joyreen Fashions. Every garment in store is half price, from casual day wear to special occasion. Thank you to our wonderful customers for your support over the many years. Don't miss Joyreen Fashions half price closing sale, 491 Portrush Road, Glenunga.
Hey, it's Jodie Oddie. Join me on July 23rd for Samri's Bright Walk, a powerful one-night challenge raising $500,000 for life-saving research. Bright Walk will last a few hours, but its impact will last generations. Starting in the cold, dark night, Bright Walk will test your grit, but you'll be inspired by bright lights along the secret path, culminating at the Cheese Grater building. Dare yourself to help Samri's brightest minds discover health breakthroughs. Join me and register at samribright.org.au.
Do you know how protective your face mask really is? Is it PPE Tech protected? PPE Tech manufactures tight-fitting P2 certified face masks. That means they're proven to filter more than 98% of particles. And better yet, they're made right here in Australia. Right now, get free delivery and save up to 40% off disposable P2 face masks. Don't settle for anything less than Australian-made PPE Tech P2 face masks. Order online at ppetech.com.au today. ppetech.com.au. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
The home on Sunset Court at O'Sullivan Beach has been badly damaged by fire. It broke out in the 2-storey property just before 1 a.m. The occupants got out okay. The cause is yet to be determined. Crystal Mitchell from the MFS says another home in the southern suburbs came under threat half an hour later.
At 1:20 a.m. this morning, MFS were called to a shed fire on Clare Street at Shadow Park. 4 MFS appliances and a command vehicle arrived and found the shed well alight.
A car and motorbike in the shed were destroyed. The fires are not believed to be linked. A motorcyclist has been clocked at an extreme speed west of the city. The police chopper spotted the Honda travelling at 150 in a 60 zone on Tapleys Hill Road late last night. Senior Constable Dave Muir says they caught up with the 34-year-old rider at Mawson Lakes.
He's been charged with 3 counts of driver at extreme speed, drive disqualified, unregistered, uninsured and displaying a false plate.
July 2 looks set to be the date for the Bragg by-election, the return to the polls prompted by Vicky Chapman's departure. The former Attorney-General vacates the seat after 20 years as the Liberal MP. The Speaker of the Lower House is expected to announce today that the writs will be issued for the first Saturday next month. Labor's new federal frontbench team will be sworn in at Government House in Canberra this morning. The team is largely the same as what the party had in opposition, but there are some exceptions. Claire O'Neill is the new Home Affairs Minister and Jason Clare has been promoted to Education. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is proud of the team he's putting forward to run the country.
Look around the people who've been elected. This is far more representative than any government party room has ever been in our history. We are making progress.
The Queen is back at Windsor ahead of her Platinum Jubilee celebrations. UK correspondent Vincent McAviney has told David and Will there's a full program of events over the 4-day weekend.
Including the Trooping of the Colour, there's a service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's, there's a big pop concert with the likes of Elton John, Diana Ross, Ed Sheeran on Saturday night, and the Derby horse race as well. And then on Sunday, a national festival which has thousands of street parties up and down the country to celebrate.
A first edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is going under the hammer at Christie's in London. Opening bids for the book, with some errors and signed by author J.K. Rowling, start at $350,000. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Footy first, and there's plenty of intrigue ahead of tonight's AFL mid-season draft. West Coast has pick number 1. The Crows come in at 4, while Port Adelaide has selection number 8. Meantime, Sydney will defend Lance Franklin's striking charge at the tribunal tonight after requesting an extra 24 hours to prepare their argument. Rafael Nadal has again taken the upper hand in his quarter-final clash against world number 1 Novak Djokovic at the French Open. Nadal took the first set 6-2 before Djokovic levelled things up after taking the second set 6-4. But Nadal now has a double break of serve in the third set and leads 5-1. The winner of that match will play against Germany's Alexander Zverev in the semis after he outlasted exciting teenager Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets to advance to the final 4.
It's a glorious win for Sasha Zverev.
who for the second year running will be in the Roland Garros semi-finals.
Audio there thanks to ESPN. Well, New South Wales coach Brad Fittler has praised his side's versatility ahead of State of Origin 1 next week. Fittler says the Blues have picked players who have utility value should injuries hit.
We feel like we've got every position covered, and we just make sure over the week that, we just put them under pressure and make sure they know who they're going to be defending with and what's needed.
Loud dog in the background there, wasn't it? And in some Formula 1 to finish, Sergio Perez has re-signed with Red Bull until the end of 2024. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Enfield, got a crash, Main North Road near Grand Junction Road. Sturt, got another collision there, Sturt Road near Mowrin Road. Quite extensive delays. Keep that one in mind if you're heading that way. And Jeps Cross, urgent electrical works are continuing. Grand Junction Road near Balderstone Road, down to one lane each way. Pretty slow going at the moment too. Look out for cameras, Adelphi Terrace, Glenelg North and Burbridge Road at West Beach. At JB Hi-Fi today only, get a 128 gig Samsung Galaxy S20 phone for half price and stacks more. JB stores open till 9 tonight. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au.
A cloudy Wednesday, a top of 15 today. Cloudy tomorrow, 15. Friday showers and 16. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 8. Lots of texts on the Automasters text line coming in the last half hour.
Absolutely, and we heard before from the passport guy about how there's big delays because suddenly Australians have woken up and gone, oh, looks like this pandemic thing's largely behind us. We might go to Fiji. And they are getting smashed with a backlog of work. One text here. Mine and my wife's passport are still in the envelope. They arrived in a day before the pandemic was declared. We were both going on a 9-week holiday in 2020 to Europe, America and Canada. We're now looking at travelling to America and Canada next year. Then they'll come out. That's from Andrew. Thanks for that, mate. One here. The passport situation is very real and very stressful. My son put his children's application in March to visit the US for a wedding in early July. No reply. Phone numbers go to message and they hang up. Flights and accommodation booked. He doesn't know what to do or who to turn to for information or help. Another one here saying from Stella, I received an email from the passport office a few months ago alerting me to my soon-to-expire passport, which I'm going to fix up. And a few people said that they did do it about a month ago and they were warned that it was going to take as long as 10 weeks, but that James and another caller, Mary, said they got it within a fortnight, which is good news.
Oh, that is good news. Hopefully that's the case for people that do need emergently. 22 minutes to 8. Our next guest is the head of media at SAMRI, Pete McDonald, who right now, what are we at, 7:37? He's probably a couple of Ks into a walk he's doing to raise money for the wonderful research that's done in that fantastic building on North Terrace. He's walking today 21 Ks to raise money. Pete, good morning to you, mate. What stage are you at?
Good morning, Will. Couple of Ks, please. 7 Ks in.
Oh, so, you're thumping it out.
I did start at a real clip and I'm absolutely flagging, so your call's come at a good time.
So you're 1/3 of the way there, roughly. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
I dare say I've got a fair way to go. I started about 10 Ks an hour and now at about 6, so it's going to be a long trip.
Now, Pete, you've been saved by the weather in a way, because I was reading, I saw the email that you sent me and Lucy and Will a few days ago. You were originally going to be walking on the roof of the cheese grater.
Yeah, they're fantastic people here at SAMRI and they value our health and safety a lot more than I do. So I really pushed yesterday to still be able to do it up there, but there's a few other boxes we have to tick before a stunt like that will be possible. So I'm hoping that we can still do it at some stage, but needs a little bit of training and some harnesses and all that sort of things to prevent an incident that might get some real media coverage.
How many Ks did it take you to get warm?
It wasn't too bad. I started in a jacket. I'm pretty good. I look a little bit like a cat burglar. I'm sort of head to toe in black with a couple of real bright accents just to support the cause. I've got a bit of a makeshift sandwich board on so people can scan me if they want to register. But
you got a QR code on your chest.
I do, front and back.
Oh no!
So where are you
that'll upset
going?
The conspiracy theorists,
so people can come and I think this is what Bill Gates was planning all along.
I've been microchipped. Don't worry.
What's your track, Pete? So people can come see you, scan you, and then donate to SAMRI.
I'm literally just walking around the base of the building. I might once people start waking up and getting to work, I might travel a little further around the plaza. And I think I might just hang around the entrance as people start to come to work and pester them into joining. But not going too far. At least that's the benefit, I guess, of being on the ground. People can actually see me, and I can make use of my sandwich board.
The walk in July, next month, toward the end of next month, 23rd of July, is one that it sounds like a lot of our listeners could get involved in as well.
Absolutely, and that's really what we're after. This is the third year of the Bright Walk, but the first time that we're actually doing a physical event because of obviously what's been going on the last couple of years. So we're going to get together. It's going to be a night walk, so starting as the sun goes down, it'll be cold, it'll be dark, it might well be raining. That's kind of the point. We want people to be uncomfortable, and disease can be uncomfortable, obviously, for not just the people suffering, but for their friends and family. So we'll start. It's meant to be a challenge. It's meant to be difficult, but we'll be inspired along the way. We've teamed up with Illuminate Adelaide, so we're going to walk past a lot of their fantastic installations. There'll be some exclusive installations just for the people on the Bright Walk. We're aiming for about 2,500 South Australians to walk alongside us, and if each of them just has 4 friends or family members kicking $50, then suddenly we've got $500,000 that can supercharge the amazing research that goes on here. So we're really looking for people not just to support us with their funds, which is so greatly appreciated, but to actually get out there and get to know us and get to know SAMRI and the amazing work that goes on down here.
Yeah, well, SAMRI, I reckon, is one of the best things that's happened to South Australia in the last 20 years. We're lucky to have it here. It's a great initiative, and everybody should get behind it. Pete McDonald, the head of media at SAMRI, thanks for joining us, mate, and good luck for the next 14Ks.
14Ks to go. It is the 1st of June today, and around the world for the last, 2022? So 21 years, the 1st of June has been recognised as World Milk Day, a day to acknowledge the contributions of the dairy industry. And Nick Hutchinson from the FIVEaa Milk Company here in South Australia is on the line. Nick, how are you guys going in the dairy world at the moment? Because we see in so many sectors that rely on transport and all manner of other things, costs are going up and the squeeze is on. Are you guys holding up all right?
Good morning, guys. It's been an interesting couple of years, and I guess there's just so many factors out of our control at the moment impacting the cost of production, and where dairy's certainly been impacted as well. One thing with the dairy industry at the moment, there's been a real decrease in supply, which is obviously has an impact on demand, and there's some big processors out there really chasing milk, which is a great thing. So finally that tide has turned a bit, and their cards are back in the hand of the dairy farmer a bit, which is great.
That's
so
nice.
Demand for their milk. So
why has supply dropped away?
For reasons I think we've all discussed over the last 5 to 10 years, unfortunately, they just weren't getting paid well enough.
Right.
They can't make ends meet. There's just been farmers shut left, right and centre. So Ponga down where we are here, there's 40 farms in the area only 20, 30 years ago, and we're down to about 8 now. So
wow.
Unfortunately, they've just shut their doors, but that decrease in supply has now increased the demand, and the prices are going up to the farmer, which is great. So it has helped to offset some costs.
You guys are a great South Australian success story, Nick, and reminds me a bit, you're sort of like the milk equivalent of Villies in a way, because I reckon when old Villy, God rest his soul, thought, in a city that had always had Balfours and Gibbs, which are, perfectly fine bakers, but to enter the market the way he did, it's similar to what you guys did, I reckon, because at the time a lot of people would have thought, Farmers Union, you've got it all sewn up. But you've really muscled your way in and turned it into a great business. And you mentioned Ponga and those 8 farms that you rely on. It's been a huge thing for the FIVEaa.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, David and Will, Baz and Jeff and Chris, who started FIVEaa Milk 16 years ago, to be honest, not a lot of people gave them hope.
Yeah.
But what they did have, mate, was just, and Villy's a great comparison, very strong morals and values. And they just believed that they understood the quality of where milk should be, and there was a value in that, and forgot the race to the bottom with pricing and sold a quality product, and then they've really, you're right, we've been able to cement our spot in the market now, and due to those values that the guys have upheld for 15 years, we've built our foundation that the company here is sustainable long term. Absolutely.
How do you go interstate, Nick? Obviously, you've got a huge following here, being South Australian, but you got much penetration in other markets?
We don't do a lot interstate, guys. No, not much at all. There are other small processors like us in interstate which do their thing. There's a lot that's been a bit of a bit like beer and a lot of things, a bit of a growing trend for little processors to open up and start bottling their own milk. So I guess for us to go interstate, one, we're competing against them, but two, the transport costs of carting 2 litres of milk, especially at the moment interstate, are quite expensive. So, no, we don't do a lot, mate.
I reckon you could charge $10 a litre in Victoria, though. People in Melbourne pay all sorts of crazy prices for stuff. I think you could recoup. You know, they'd have a $15 latte.
Give it a bit of a hipster edge.
Exactly right. Yeah.
One day in the future, mate, who knows?
Well, I hope that day comes because the bigger you guys get, I think the better for everyone and the better for the industry here in South Australia as well.
Bottom line, it's great milk. Like you can take. It's like, what's that word? Locavore. Like I like drinking FIVEaa milk because you know it's from 55 kilometres down the road. Like it's just from round the corner, and it's really good to cook with too. The full cream milk, if you're making like a scallop potato or something like that, the old style milk that's still got the little bit of cream on top. If you're making a white sauce, just grab a bottle of FIVEaa milk; it'll taste 10 times better.
I reckon we need to add to our sales team, guys.
Yeah, mate. Count us in.
Oh yeah.
I'll just let you guys talk. But no, that's great to hear.
No, we love getting behind local businesses.
Absolutely.
That's great. Thank you very much. And yeah, that is exactly what we're trying to promote and sell, quality. So yeah.
Good on you, Nick. Thank you.
Happy Milk Day.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Nick Hutchison from the FIVEaa Milk Company. Peter in Woodville's called in. Morning to you, Peter.
Morning. I was a milky in the 70s, and I was in the front of I don't know if it's still there, a Caltech service station on Military Road near the Grange station.
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
And the police pulled me over and he wanted a bottle of milk. As he was getting his money out, it was before they had the gun on the side of their hip. The gun fell on the ground, on the floor, on the ground. I bent down and picked it up and handed it back to him, which is an experience back then. I would have got shot in America if it happened in America. And then Johnny Cale, the famous football coach, I delivered to him one morning. The wife was from Singapore. Of course, she didn't know Johnny Cale. He come running out to the car and he said, "Can I get milk delivered?" And she said, "Yeah, and what's your name?" Before he answered, I pulled out and I said, "Don't worry, Foster, she doesn't know nothing about football." And he looked at me as if to say, "I'm John Cale, not Foster Williams." He would have gone back to the wife and said, "I've met some idiots in my day. I just met him."
Don't worry, honey. It's Foss. Peter, you've got a FIVEaa breakfast cup coming your way. That is magnificent work. What a great story.
For the price of one. Well, Jack Cale had the chicken shop about 100 metres from...
That's right.
And it's still there. It's a great chicken shop, that one there, just on the corner of Military Road. Walking distance from your place,
It
mate.
certainly is. Yeah, it's nice.
That's
little
an
stretch
excellent
of shops
chicken
there
shop.
on Jetty Street there at Grange as
Great
well.
little coffee shop round the corner there too.
Yeah, absolutely. It is.
And
it's a nice little
spot. There's a Dulwich bakery there.
There's a Dulwich bakery there.
Yeah.
Hairdresser on the corner. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
I used to often get there early for school pickup when the older kids were still at Grange Primary and grab a flat white for the drive home.
Yeah, no, it's a nice spot. And a couple of great stories. Let's check traffic. We've got John Blake coming up in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At Enfield, got a crash, Main North Road near Grand Junction Road, Sturt. Another collision there, Marine Road at Sturt Road. One lane blocked and seeing delays. Take care through there. Jepps Cross, Urgent Electrical Works, Grand Junction Road near Balderstone Road, down to one lane, both directions. Pretty slow going at the moment. And we're slow right now, Grange Road, Crittenden Road to East Avenue. Cameras, Adelphi Terrace, Glenelg North, and West Beach Road at West Beach. Telstra Day is this Thursday. Get unreal deals for one day only with great savings on a range of phones. Set your alarm this Thursday only, shop in store or online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions. After many incredible years, I've decided to hang up my Joyreen hat. Yes ladies, I'm retiring. This is your final chance to purchase quality garments at Joyreen Fashions. Every garment in store is half price, from casual day wear to special occasion. Thank you to our wonderful customers for your support over the many years. Don't miss Joyreen Fashion's half price closing sale, 491 Portrush Road, Glenunga.
I'm Jane, Nursing Director at Flinders Medical Centre. I see many patients who are healthy and double vaxxed and thought they were fully protected against COVID. They didn't realise the vaccine effectiveness fades over time. along with their immunity to COVID. This winter, remember, double vaxxed isn't fully vaxxed, and a third shot is your best shot at not catching COVID, spreading COVID, or ending up in hospital. Book your third COVID shot now.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Attention dilly-dalliers. If you thought you'd run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, listen to this. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is about to receive truckloads of new Volkswagens, and they're available at amazing end of financial year prices. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. With travel restrictions lifted, our National Tiles buying team is back in Italy and Spain on a mission to buy the best, the very best. Yes, the absolute very best quality tiles from the very best European manufacturers exclusively for National Tiles. So for the absolute best European quality National Tiles for your home at Australia's very best everyday lowest prices, you must go to nationaltiles.com.au now.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 to 8. Get well soon, Sean Fuster as well.
Yes.
We used to go around the courts with Sean on a Wednesday morning, but he's off still battling the COVID, so hopefully we'll be back next Wednesday. Wish everyone that the household all the best at the moment as well. 9 minutes to 8. In a moment, Best of SA, your chance to win tickets to the Night of Nights and more.
Glittering Night of Nights.
Glittering, you're right, absolutely. I got it all wrong. The glittering Night of Nights. And John Blake in a moment. But first, let's go to David, who's called in. Morning to you, David.
Yeah, good morning, boys. How you going?
Good,
thanks, mate.
Good. I've got a question for you. When are we going to get serious about these clowns? That guy on the 150 kilometres an hour, no licence, no insurance, and they've released him on bail. So what are they going to do to him? He's probably got no money. He's got no sense, obviously.
Mate, I could not agree with you more. And you're keen and discerning listening to our program, mate. You'd hear when we talk about our copper mates at SAPOL every morning at 6:45. How often do you hear people driving unlicensed, driving while disqualified? Like the only reason that they can let these people out on bail, surely, is that there's not enough room in the remand centre to keep them there, because there's no policy argument for letting them out because they're professionally antisocial.
Exactly. Yeah, so that guy potentially could have killed a family.
Yep.
Yep, 100%.
Not going to have any disagreement here, David. It's to the question, when are we going to get serious? I don't know. Is it going to be the time we get lawyers out of Parliament? When is it?
You know what I find amazing in all sorts of ways? Page 9 of today's Tiser looks like page 3 of the London Sun.
Oh, yeah.
The picture of this young woman, Alice Mabel Weeks, who in her spare time earns up to $12,000 a month on a website which, hand on heart, folks, I'm not familiar with. It's called OnlyFans. Apparently this is for people who want to get into the PORN caper, where you can upload pictures of yourself in the altogether, and people will pay you money. Apparently make quite a quid out of it.
It's the beauty of technology. I think it's like Uber porn, where people started going, well, we don't really need some company to distribute. You can do it yourself.
But look, the reason I mention this, aside from the titillating nature of the photographs, is that this woman, so she's been accused of a violent abduction. She's facing false imprisonment, arson, theft and gun charges. So you could say, by way of understatement, that she's in a bit of a legal pickle. Now, she was remanded in custody yesterday, and she's going to be there until her next court date, which is in December. Now, she broke down upon hearing this news. She was in utter disbelief. Now,
she must be a listener.
Well, maybe she thought, hang on, don't you just get bail automatically?
No.
But not making light of her predicament, but, there's a bit of a you make your bed, you lie in it, honey, angle to this story, isn't there? Like it's not like she's been caught jaywalking.
It's not a very good article for the credibility of the deterrent of punishment in South Australia, is it? Hang on, there are consequences to kidnapping?
I'm always reminded of the excellent words of Bob Carr about all of those poor doe-eyed saps who fell in love with our very own Hicksy, David Hicks, Adelaide's David Hicks. You know, everyone can remember the great photograph of David Hicks with the rocket launcher on his shoulder. And when Carr was Foreign Minister, people were saying, oh, you know, when are we going to see justice for David Hicks? And Bob Carr said, you choose to go to a hot war zone, get trained by Al-Qaeda, enemy combatants in the war on terror, pose up with a large rocket launcher on your shoulder. From that point on, life becomes complex.
yeah.
And it's like
it's a good lesson for life.
It's the sort of brainy way of saying, sucked in, you drongo.
Yeah.
This is what happens. They're called consequences.
Exactly right. 5AA's Best of SA is about celebrating and profiling some of the great brands in our state. The big night is coming up in, 16 days' time? 17th of June at Adelaide Oval. It's going to be spectacular. We've got an opportunity for you to win some tickets. Plus, thanks to the company we're celebrating today, Alpha Industries, a chance to win a Colorbond Whirlybird worth $150. So you get the Colorbond Whirlybird from Alpha Industries, worth $150. You also get 2 tickets to the Best of SA dinner, 17th of June, Adelaide Oval. Call now if you want to get along, 8223 0055. Here's Jane Riley with Alpha Industries.
Today I'm at Cavan, just north of Jeps Cross, at Alpha Industries. This is a great family business that's been around for more than 3 decades. Today I'm talking to Angela Datsopoulos. Angela, what do you build here?
We build anything out of steel, so your sheds, your verandas, your carports, aircraft hangars, and now our new rumpus rooms or studios or granny flats.
Now I hear that they're very popular. Who are looking at putting granny flats and studios into their backyards?
Basically everybody. We have the ladies who want a she shed, as we call it, for their pottery or their crafts. Families who want to get the teenagers out of the house into their own room. The guys who want their studio for their playing their drums. So anyone.
So are they made on site here? How do you go about getting one of these Alpha Industries studios in your place?
Depending on your access, we can deliver anything up to 7 metres by 4 metres on our truck, deliver it to site. Anything bigger, or if you've got a backyard where we just can't access it with a crane, we'll build it on site. It comes complete. You choose your own flooring, choose your own colours. It's got the air conditioning, and we can also do yourselves a bathroom and plug in place. You just plug it into your mains power.
Now you only use blue scope steel. Why is that?
The quality, first of all, there's second to none. We believe in supporting Australia, and it's better for everybody.
Angela, thank you very much for being part of it again, because I think you're one of the longest running businesses to be involved right from the very, very beginning, and it's fantastic to have you here with us.
Thank you, Jen. I always look forward to catching up. Thank you.
And I always look forward to the cakes afterwards. Can we eat them now?
Definitely, let's go.
Hey, congrats to Grace in Highgate. First caller through. We'll see you at the Best of SA dinner on the 17th of June. And you've got the Colorbond Whirlybird thanks to Alpha Industries as well. Alpha Industries, the experts in creating space outdoors, verandas, carports, sheds and more, made right here in South Australia. It's time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Hi, Steph.
Good morning, Premier. Tom Goodson-Tonis is here to see you.
Oh, what does he want?
Well, he said, hello, Stephanie, and the rest I didn't understand.
Okay, ask him to come in, Steph.
Will do. You can go in.
Thank you, Stephanie. Come in, Tom.
Hello, Premier Peter.
G'day, what's up?
I just wanted to clear something up.
Okay.
What do I say to people when they ask me about the V8 supercars?
What about them?
Well, you know, as Transport Minister, they're going to ask me about the fact that we've declared a climate emergency.
Yes, and?
Well, I've looked up the definition of the word emergency, and it says a serious, unexpected, and often dangerous situation requiring immediate action.
Right.
Well, climate change is serious.
Yes.
But it's not really unexpected now.
No, but it's dangerous.
Well, yeah, well, that's debatable, but requiring immediate action.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Well, that's the problem I have, Premier Peter. If climate change requires immediate action, what are we actually doing immediately to solve the problem?
Well, we declared an emergency.
Is there anything else we can do? Or
Well, it takes time, Tom.
Well, it's an emergency, and it says it requires immediate...
Well, we've identified that there's a problem that needs...
Well, yes, but we're also bringing back a filthy carbon-producing car race, which people are going to ask me about.
Well, you tell them...
And I need to be able to justify a fossil fuel-powered car race when we've just declared a climate emergency.
You tell them, Tom, that the supercars run on fuel that is more environmentally friendly than the family car or the trucks that are on our roads.
Yeah, but then they'll ask me why we don't ban cars and trucks.
Well, you say because that would ruin the economy.
So then, well, I better write this down. So we have a climate emergency. We can't ruin the economy. Carry on as normal.
Well done, Tom.
He's making some excellent points there, Coots.
Certainly did. All right, it's 5AA News Time, breaking at 8 coming up very shortly, and we'll be back in a moment.
If you're looking to try the exciting MG range, pop into New Spot MG, now open in the city on West Terrace. You can test drive the full MG range, including Australia's #1 selling small hatch under 20k, the impressive MG3, or try the exciting MG SUV range, all with 7-year warranty, some available with EV and hybrid options. Visit the New Spot MG City Showroom, now on West Terrace, Adelaide. New Spot MG, 3 convenient locations: Adelaide, Hampstead Gardens and Salisbury Park.
Hello, Geeks to You.
Hi, I've lost all my files. They're in the cloud somewhere.
That's okay, it's over most people's heads. Let's go find them.
Oh, thanks.
Tech problems? For remote or on-site help, go to geeks2u.com.au or 1300 geeks2u.
So the garden tap connects to the tap adapter. The tap adapter connects to the tap timer. The tap timer connects to the hose connector. The hose connector connects to the Pope hose. The Pope hose connects to a sprinkler. Keeping your garden green is easy with Pope's PermaFit Connection no-leak garden hoses.
And that's how your garden grows.
Make the connection with Pope Garden Watering Systems. Available at Bunnings Warehouse.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
2 fires south of the city overnight are not believed to be linked. A 2-storey house on Sunset Court at O'Sullivan Beach went up in flames shortly before 1 a.m. The occupants escaped unhurt. It's caused significant damage to the property. Half an hour later, the alarm was raised at Shido Park, a shed next to a house on Clare Court caught alight. A car and motorbike inside the shed were also destroyed in the blaze. A motorcyclist is facing a string of charges after going for a very fast ride on his bike late last night. The Honda was spotted by Polaire in the western suburbs just before 11:30, doing 150 in a 60 zone. Senior Constable Dave Muir says they caught up with the 34-year-old at a car park in Mawson Lakes.
He's been bailed to appear in the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court later this month, and his motorcycle's now impounded for 28 days.
The Bragg by-election is set for the first Saturday in July. The writs are expected to be issued today. The seat falls empty as Vicky Chapman leaves Parliament. The former Attorney-General was the Liberal MP in the eastern suburbs seat for 2 decades. A climate emergency has been declared in South Australia. Labor's motion passed Parliament last night with support from both sides of the House. Opposition leader and environment spokesperson David Spears is demanding real action to follow.
We think that it's one thing to declare a climate emergency, but if you don't back that up with action and investment in the natural environment, in the natural world, this is no more than just symbolism designed to capture a few Greens votes.
Federal Labor says it understands people are struggling with the rising cost of living, but claims the previous coalition government is to blame. Customers are being warned to expect higher electricity prices and the cost of petrol to remain above $2 a litre. Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles says a lack of investment in renewable energy has led to the problems the country is now facing.
It's not something we can solve overnight, but we will be working very hard with the policies that we've put forward to get the energy policy settled, end the climate wars, get renewables into the grid, get power prices down.
The The opposition argues turmoil overseas is placing pressure on energy markets around the globe. Ukrainian officials say they've identified more than 600 Russian war crime suspects and have started prosecuting around 80 of them. The International Criminal Court is working toward opening an office in Kiev to support the investigations into the allegations. The Queen has returned to Windsor Castle ahead of celebrations for her Platinum Jubilee. Brett McLeod has more from London.
Her Majesty has spent the last few days at her Balmoral estate in Scotland. She's been filmed getting on a private flight from Aberdeen before later being driven into her regular home at Windsor Castle. The 4-day Jubilee celebrations kick off tomorrow with the traditional trooping the colour to honour her accession to the throne, before the 96-year-old leads members of her family onto the famous Buckingham Palace balcony, with tens of thousands of people expected to cheer her on.
Kevin Spacey is confident he can beat multiple charges of sexual assault. The Oscar winner has issued a statement saying he will voluntarily appear before the UK courts to prove his innocence. He's facing 4 counts of sexual assault for alleged incidents between 2005 and 2013. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Crows veteran Taylor Walker gets out of COVID isolation today and is expected to return for Saturday's home clash against West Coast. Josh Rochelle, though, is no guarantee to play as he continues to battle a corked thigh. High-performance manager Darren Burgess telling the club's website they're monitoring the rising star.
There was some significant bleeding with the cork, so we just have to manage that and make sure it doesn't become a more serious issue.
Adelaide is likely to become involved, meanwhile, today in the mid-season draft with Rory Sloane and Paul Seedsman on the long-term injury list. The Crows have pick 4 while West Coast has pick number 1. The Eagles are expected to select 19-year-old Dandenong Stingrays midfielder Jai Cully. There are some calls for a mid-season trade period to be introduced, but AFL legend Lee Matthews believes that should only happen post-season.
Food managers approaching other players to swap clubs. So that could be happening all over the place. There might be the odd player that will say yes, but there'd be a lot of players that would potentially approach. And I'm happy enough with the trade period at the end of the year.
The French Open quarter-final clash between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic is turning into another classic. Nadal leads 2-1, but Djokovic is up 4-2 in the 4th set, with the match seemingly headed for 5. And Sydney could host a one-off American football game between 2 of the league's biggest teams. News Corp reports US officials are discussing the possibility of bringing Super Bowl champions the LA Rams and the Dallas Cowboys to Australia in 2024. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Enfield crash, Main North Road near Grand Junction Road. Jeps Cross, urgent electrical works there. Grand Junction Road near Balderstone Road. Down to 1 lane both directions and pretty busy right now. Belair, trenching work continues. That's Main Road near Minalta Drive, affecting both directions. And we're busy right now. Grange Road, Crittenden Road to East Avenue. Cameras to look out for today. Maxwell Terrace, Glenelg East and North Street at Henley Beach. Harris Scarf's Giant June sale is on now. Hurry and save big across homewares, Manchester clothing and underwear for a limited time only. Harris Scarf for great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachiaircon.com.au.
A top of just 15 for your Wednesday and cloudy. Cloudy tomorrow 15, Friday showers and 16. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 8, breaking 8 coming up in a moment. Then we're going to chat with the Governor, Francis Adamson, about the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations. They're obviously happening in the UK, but there's a local version that's going to take place at Government House as well. So very much looking forward to that. Always enjoy our chats with the Governor. And then after 8:30, we've got a little bit of a giveaway for you, and one that I think a lot of listeners are going to be able to get involved with, and it's going to be a lot of fun. That's coming up very, very shortly. Let's get into breaking 8 first.
Well, there was a pretty important speech given here in Adelaide last night by the incoming Minister for Indigenous Affairs in the Albanese government, Linda Burney. She delivered what's known as the Lowitja O'Donoghue oration, named after the highly regarded South Australian Indigenous leader. It was given before the Don Dunstan Foundation here, just down the road at the uni. And I did an interview with Linda Burney last night, just before she gave the speech. And a large part of the speech was about the so-called voice to Parliament, which is the key recommendation of the Uluru Statement, which was a big gathering of hundreds of Indigenous leaders a few years ago in the centre of Australia, obviously. Now, the voice to Parliament has been something that has had a checkered history politically. It was considered and then rejected by Malcolm Turnbull, more for factional reasons than anything. I think he was worried that he was going to lose his leadership and the right wing of the party would turn on him. Interestingly, Tony Abbott said that he had no issue with the idea of having a voice to Parliament. Now, critics of it have said that they regard it as a third chamber, which is going to sit in direct opposition to the Parliament. It's important to stress that there's a lot of Liberals who are actually saying, well, we don't think it is. It's basically an advisory panel so that we can put an end to the sort of paternalism where laws are made ostensibly for the benefit of Indigenous communities by rooms full of white people. And this country's got a long history of doing that and saying, well, this is what we think you should be doing. So this would place Indigenous people front and centre in the decision-making process. The important thing, and this is what I thought was most interesting, it sounds like we are going to have a referendum on this by the time we go to the polls again. I asked Linda Burney, what's the timeline? And she said, we're not putting a timeline on it. I don't think that would be wise. We really need to build a consensus before we put that timeline in place. But everyone should be clear that we are incredibly passionate about this. She said that the government could not have been clearer about it during the election, and that she and Albo went to Uluru 12 months ago to recommit themselves to the Uluru Statement. And while there's no actual formal timeline there, I got the very strong sense from talking to the new minister, who's the first female Indigenous Affairs Minister Australia's ever had, by the way, that whether people agree with it or not, that Labor is going to be moving heaven and earth to make sure that they can put this to a vote, and they want it to be a repeat of 1967 with bipartisan support. So yeah, Australia is going to have a pretty big constitutional decision to make in 3 years' time.
11 minutes after 8, let's have a look at the fuel situation. You can download the free My RAA app today to find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Here are the cheap spots, and again, down a little bit from yesterday as well. I've read some really concerning analysis of the direction of fuel prices. It suggested it'll be back above $2 shortly, so do get in. The ex-convenience Torrens Road, Woodville North, $1.83.9. The Ampol South Road, St Mary's, $1.82.9. The ex-convenience Hamilton Terrace, Newton, $1.82.7. The cheapest diesel we've managed to find is the ex-convenience Main North Road, Jeps Cross, $1.87.3. On tomorrow's program, I'm going to be crossing to the UK to get as close as we can to the celebrations for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, but we don't have to travel too far to see some acknowledgement of the occasion here in South Australia, because there's going to be some things taking place at Government House, and Governor Francis Adamson joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Governor, good morning to you.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Will.
We always love having you on, Your Excellency. So what have we got lined up down the road here at Government House for this prestigious occasion?
Well, what we're going to be doing at Government House is on Sunday afternoon from 12 until 4, we're going to have an open house, and we're inviting all South Australians. I mean, if all 1.7 come, it'll be a bit tricky with the scones. But we're inviting... so I've told the chef to expect a big crowd.
Yeah.
But, and the kitchen's preparing. But 12 till 4, open house. Rod, my husband, and our daughters, Catherine and Sophie, will be here welcoming everyone. We've got some special things. A number of people have been to open days. This is an open house. It's a little bit different, and we are going to be displaying memorabilia from the Queen's 7 visits to South Australia in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s and 2000s. And we'll have some special treats in store. I'm happy to talk a little bit about those, but not all of them, because we want some of them to be surprises.
Yeah. The Queen's being celebrated for her longevity this weekend, but I think that perhaps even a greater achievement is the degree to which she's just so admired and revered still in a place like Australia. Why do you think that she's managed that through the generations to remain such an incredibly popular figure?
Look, I think some of it has to do with longevity, but I think if you look at each one of those individual visits, she really did make an impression on so many people. I mean, when we think back to 1954, that first visit, we know that something like 200,000 people lined the route from Parafield Airport to Government House. That's an amazing number. On every one of those visits, of course, as the media presence and media projection grew, I think more people came to appreciate the kind of person she was. Yes, obviously, our head of state, a sovereign, all of those elements of royalty, but a deep sense of service also, and I think we'd say in the modern day parlance of connection to community, and I think that's just been greatly appreciated by the many South Australians who've had the privilege of meeting the Queen, but also I think by many more who haven't but do have a sense of knowing her and admiring her for so many different things, some of them often actually quite personal to the individual.
So obviously the world's been locked down for much of the last 2 years, and obviously the Queen has not been travelling overseas, but on the occasion of your appointment as Governor, Your Excellency, did you have occasion to talk to her via Zoom or anything like that?
Look, I haven't spoken to the Queen via Zoom yet. I mean, I know she did that with my predecessor, Hugh Van Ley, and of course with the then Premier Stephen Marshall when her that wonderful statue outside the morning room was unveiled. Of course, she signed my commission, and I have written to her to convey the very best wishes of all South Australians. And of course, were there an opportunity to have an audience at some stage during a future visit to the UK, I'd very much love to do that. I have met her on a number of occasions in previous roles, and first saw her actually here in South Australia during her Silver Jubilee visit in 1977 when I attended a service at St Peter's Cathedral at which the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were present. But look, I should also mention, because I said we're doing two main things. We've got the open house midday to 4 p.m. on Sunday, but we are also illuminating the facade of Government House, so we're lighting up the front of the house from 5:30 to 8:30 on Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. PM, of course, the gates will be open. Members of the public are welcome to come in, and what they'll see is not just a house being lit up purple, which we've done before, but they will see projections onto the house, scenes that many of them will remember from the Queen's visits to South Australia and more broadly to Australia. And I think I had a sneak preview of that last night as it was being set up. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing. It won't take long. People are welcome to come in for a few minutes, look at the house from the inside of the stone wall rather than the outside. It's a bit hard to see over the top, and that will convey a sense of Her Majesty's visits, and they will hear her voice also, things that she said to the public during those visits.
Do we present her with a gift as a state for this achievement, 70 years as our monarch, Your Excellency?
Well, the matter of gifts is always a slightly tricky one before the occasion, before announcements. No one ever likes to sort of
of course
say what the present will be in advance, so I won't. But there are things in train, if I can put it that way, that will be announced in due course.
Excellent. Oh, that's nice.
Is it a stressful week? I know when we have people around our place, and it can only be 2 or 3, and I've got to do the vacuuming and stuff. Is it a bit like that?
Tidying up.
Yeah, you've got to make sure there's no dishes on the sink. That's a big one in our
place.
Well,
what we will be doing, though, is more of the reverse, actually. We'll be putting out on for example, in the state dining room will be set as if for a state banquet for Her Majesty, with all of the crystal that would have been we've used in the past when she's visited. The chef's busy making a platinum pudding, which has been the subject of a big competition in the UK, I think 5,000 entries, and there will be various items on display, including the famed Fruiter bottle.
Fantastic.
From that 1954 visit.
Oh, terrific. Well, look, it's a remarkable achievement, and it's a nice story that we are part of it here in South Australia, because she's played such a big part in the lives of so many South Australians with the many visits here.
Yep.
Governor Frances Adamson, thank you so much for joining us this morning on 5AA.
Thank you.
So here's the question. What do you get the monarch who has everything?
Yes.
What gift? What is the emblematic gift that
From
South Australia should give to the Queen?
Well, I think there's an idea for a conversation with our listeners, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It's
a bit like it's sort of in a way it's a workplace achievement. Like if you'd had a job for that long, you'd get a gold watch or maybe a set of golf clubs. She's probably passed the golf.
Yeah, I think golf's probably not on the agenda.
That's something that says something about the state.
I've just had a look.
What about a crow's jumper? And a port scarf.
Imagine Her Majesty going, I wonder how the crows are doing.
They're not going particularly well. I'm a bit worried about the rebuild.
I actually think she'd find a very judicious sort of way to comment on how they're doing. She's been in more problematic and difficult situations than being asked how the crows are going.
The Christmas address.
We found that at the Adelaide Football Club it was another challenging year.
I feel like I've heard that. Win tickets to the Wildlife Photographer of the Year exhibition at the Adelaide Botanic Gardens, located in the International Rose Garden, on now until the 24th of July. We have 10 doubles to give away, so I reckon the first 5 callers through with gift ideas for the Queen will all get a double.
Yeah.
Sam's saying, why don't we just give away all 10? Well, all right, let's give away all 10. The first 10 callers through...
10, we can do that.
We'll get a double pass to this wonderful exhibition at the Adelaide Botanic Gardens. You just need to come up with a South Australian gift for Her Majesty the Queen this weekend. Let's check traffic.
Look out for a smash at Seaton, Trimmer Parade at Tapley's Hill Road. Another collision at Enfield, Main North Road near Grand Junction Road. Heavy delays at the moment. Jepps Cross, Urgent Electrical Works, Grand Junction Road near Balderstone Road, down to 1 lane, both directions. Pretty slow going at the moment. Got a few cameras to look out for. Adelphi Terrace, Glenelg North and Burbridge Road at West Beach. Eligible concession card holders can get their free rapid antigen test from Chemist Warehouse. See in store for details or shop online at chemistwarehouse.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Taylor Walker.
What are you doing? What did you do with your stars that got to that age?
No, they played as long as they wanted.
There you go. But it was
different. I mean, this was the loyalty that we had with clubs, and we didn't have to worry about list sizes. I think it's his decision. I don't think if the Crows aren't prepared to offer him a contract, it's disgraceful.
4 p.m. weekdays.
If he wants to stay there,
he wants to stay.
Well, if he wants to stay, the Crows offer him a contract.
Absolutely. In a conversation.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
Hey, it's Callum here. It wasn't by chance that Edwardstown Mazda located themselves bang on South Road. They wanted to make it easy for people driving to the city, just like you, to get your car serviced. So no matter what make or model car you have, make a pit stop at Edwardstown Mazda for a logbook service. They can drop you into the city so you can forget about expensive parking fees, or borrow a new car for the day, which is what I like to do.
It's gotta be.
At Edwardstown Mazda, they'll do whatever works for you. edwardstownmazda.com.au.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you'll receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Hi, it's Callum Han here, Ambassador for Pick a Local Pick SA. If you're looking for quality fruit and veg from someone you can trust, go to those who know, your local fruit and veg store. They're the ones at the market before dawn, selecting the freshest produce from SA growers. They know what's in season, the best varieties for cooking, and have an eye for quality. Shop in stores displaying the red Pick a Local Pick SA sign, and follow us on Facebook for inspiration, recipes, and more ways to enjoy South Australian grown.
Why does a welcome to country matter? Is my business working respectfully with First Nations peoples? How would Aboriginal artwork tell my company's story? It's okay to ask questions. I'm Rebecca Wessels, founder of Ochre Dawn Creative Industries, a First Nations business dedicated to helping your business grow through expressing itself creatively. Reconciliation is more than just words, so contact us to find out how Ochre Dawn can help you. Ochre Dawn Creative Industries, bringing your story to life.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes after 8, we just spoke with the Governor, Francis Adamson, looking to give her a bit of help. I don't think she needs it, but there was an expectation that South Australia provides a gift to the Queen, Her Majesty, on the occasion of her Platinum Jubilee this weekend. I think they've got it sorted, but in case they need some last-minute gift ideas, we have a whole host of tickets to the Wildlife Photographer of the Year exhibition to give away to the first 10 callers who come up with a South Australian gift idea for the Queen. Let's start in Seaford. Trevor, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, thanks, Trev.
Look, we gave her our former Premier, but she sent him back.
Thank you, Trevor. Let's go to Mark in Summertown. Good morning.
Howdy. I'm pitching the idea of Jonathan Ross, who hosted Tom Cruise on his chat show one night, and it was Tom Cruise's birthday, and he said, what do you get the man who's got everything? So he gave him a medallion with the inscription on it, I've got everything.
Thank you, Mark. You wear that proudly. She doesn't mind a bit of jewellery for the Queen. Ros in Rostrevor, good morning.
Good morning. How about when the Queen is kicking back with her beloved G&T, we offer her a bottle of wonderful Adelaide distilled gin?
Well, there's plenty of distilleries to pick from.
Kangaroo Island Spirits or something or other.
Prohibition gin.
Oh, there's a lot of options.
There's heaps.
Gin's booming in South Australia.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Ros.
That's excellent.
Andy, good morning.
Hey, how you going, guys?
Good, mate.
Hey, what about a platinum edition frog cake and then wash it down with maybe a platinum edition Farmers Union stuff?
Is a platinum edition frog cake silver? I imagine it glittering or something.
You could do a silver frog cake.
I think you could.
Be great.
Bit of gold leaf.
Yeah, classy.
Tessa in Paraka, good morning.
Good morning, my darling boys. I think the gin or the Farmers Union iced coffee should be gifted to the Queen in one of the 5AA breakfast coffee cups.
Yeah. That's a money can't buy opportunity right there.
Well, we don't just give them to anyone. And
they're not available in retail.
You know I'm a stickler for the rules, David, but the Queen hasn't called in. So
that's right.
If she'd like to call in...
Not eligible.
She can get a coffee mug.
8223 0000, Your Majesty.
Exactly right. Keen listener. Kay in Woodville, good morning.
Oh, hi, guys. It's got to be Hague's. And in a special platinum box and maybe with a little gold gold leaf crown on top. A share box for the whole family.
Do you think frogs or freckles or what would the Queen's go be?
Maybe soft centres because we wouldn't want her to break her
Good point.
teeth on the scorched almonds.
Yes, that's an excellent point,
true.
Kay. I like that. That's
or
thoughtful.
maybe the dark apricot.
Yeah, that's an option.
Square with the dark chocolate.
David in Redwood Park, good morning.
Village pie with sauce and one of them green frog things for dessert.
That's Dave calling from Liverpool.
I want David to deliver it too. All right.
York Sheffield.
Oh, York Sheffield. Sorry, David.
Oh, so David.
Got the wrong county.
You almost said about him then, didn't you, David?
I did.
Mate, sorry, in my defence, I'm from Cornwall.
My goodness. Now, let's go to another David, and try not to get into trouble this David. David in Tea Tree Gully, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, boys. Indulge me for a second with a quick history lesson. Before World War II, the CSIRO were developing something to keep flies away from sheep. World War II happens, they used it in New Guinea, and it worked amazingly well. Forward to 1963, the Queen's visit, a golf day in Canberra, they sprayed her with this stuff, and amazingly, it kept all the flies off her. After that visit, Mortein approached them, the CSIRO, and were given the formula, and we've had Mortein, we have had Aerogard in our back pockets ever since.
Wow.
So I think a golden can of Aerogard.
Oh, what a great idea.
That's an
I
excellent
appreciate
entry.
the history lesson too, David.
Oh,
Didn't you know Aerogard had such a sort of regal beginning.
No flies on the Queen.
Sam in Clearview, good morning.
Hey, boys. All great calls, but I'll give her a beautiful Barossa Valley Shiraz wine in the gold-plated cask.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think she'd enjoy that.
She'd probably have a pretty good cellar, wouldn't she?
Yeah, but something local. New vintage, something that can age a bit.
Maybe the new Henschke Hill of Grace that came out this week.
There'd be worse gifts you'd get in your life. Lisa in Belair, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, thanks, Lisa.
Well, I think we should give her a gum tray and throw in one of our beautiful koalas.
Who's paying for the postage?
Good one, Lisa. Thank you.
They don't make post packs that big, do they?
I think we've got two more to do with the tickets for the wildlife exhibition at Botanic Gardens. Morning to you, Anthony.
Hi, guys. I reckon we should give her a pair of RM Million boots when she's strolling through the grounds of Buck Mallet.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
They
She
make
gets
them
some
for
use
women.
out of that when she goes, tending to the horses and on the hunt.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
What's
out
the
there.
property she's got in Scotland that they love to go to? What's it called?
Is it Glen Eagles or something?
Glen-
It's a golf course.
John in Ascot Park, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I think probably a model of the French submarine that we no longer need.
There must be a lot of those knocking
naval
around.
group building.
There must be a whole heap of those submarines sort of perched up in glass boxes somewhere.
Has she got a
I'd love to
didgeridoo?
have one, actually.
Has anyone given her a didgeridoo over the years?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Balmoral Castle.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
What about that? 12 listeners then.
Also known as Glen Eagles.
And everyone gets tickets to the excellent wildlife exhibition at the
Yes.
Botanic Gardens. You might all end up meeting each other. It's going to
Exactly
become the
right.
social event of the year. Dozen 5AA listeners.
It'll be a get-together.
Have a good time, folks.
5AA News Time. Back with more shortly.
If you're looking to try the exciting MG range, pop into New Spot MG, now open in the city on West Terrace. You can test drive the full MG range, including Australia's #1 selling small hatch under 20k, the impressive MG3, or try the exciting MG SUV range, all with 7-year warranty, some available with EV and hybrid options. Visit the New Spot MG City Showroom, now on West Terrace, Adelaide. New Spot MG, 3 convenient locations: Adelaide, Hampstead Gardens and Salisbury Park.
Do you love to entertain, taste new products, and see celebrity chefs? Then don't miss Food, Wine and Cooking at the Home Show, Adelaide Showground this Friday to Sunday. Entries free. kjex.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A motorcyclist has been clocked 90 k's over the speed limit west of the city. Senior Constable Dave Muir says the bike came to their attention around 11:30 last night.
Collier was up and about, spotted a motorcycle travelling at 150 kilometres an hour in a 60 km/h zone on Tapley's Hill Road in the western suburbs. Collier followed that rider through a number of suburbs until it stopped in a car park off Waterhouse Lane at Mawson Lakes.
The 34-year-old rider has been charged with a range of offences, including driving at extreme speed, disqualified and unregistered. He'll appear in court later this month. It was a busy night for firefighters south of the city. A 2-storey house on Sunset Court at O'Sullivan Beach went up in flames shortly before 1 a.m. The occupants escaped unhurt. It's caused significant damage to the property. Half an hour later, the alarm was raised at Shido Park. Crystal Mitchell from the MFS says they were called to a shed fire at a home on Clare Court.
Fire crews contained the fire to the shed, preventing it spreading to an attached house and surrounding premises. All occupants had evacuated. The shed is completely destroyed, and fire cause investigators will be attending this morning to determine the damage and cause.
There was a car and motorbike in the shed. It's not believed the fires are linked. The Canadian province of British Columbia has announced an experiment to partially decriminalise the possession of several hard drugs. It means adults will be allowed to possess up to a total of 2.5 grams of cocaine, opioids and other hard drugs. Authorities say the aim is to treat addiction rather than jail users. The UK is preparing to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee this weekend. A full program of events has been planned, including the traditional Trooping of the Colour and balcony appearance. But UK correspondent Vincent McAviney says there are fears it could be overshadowed.
The difficult side of it all, because Harry and Meghan are also back in the country for it, but also what is Prince Andrew going to do? We saw at the service of remembrance for his late father, Duke of Edinburgh, he broke with the pre-arranged agreement and led his mother all the way up the aisle to her seat. There are real concerns that he might try and do the same thing this week, so there'll be a plan to try to keep him off the balcony and from the front of the public event.
A major cleanup is underway in the US state of Minnesota after 2 twisters left a trail of destruction. Winds reached up to 130 k's an hour, damaging hundreds of homes and businesses. There are no reports of death or injuries. The importance of milk for good health and nutrition is being brought to the forefront this World Milk Day. One glass of milk can help meet nearly 30% of a person's daily calcium needs. But research shows 2/3 of adults are consuming less than the daily recommended amount. Dairy Australia's Melissa Cameron is encouraging people to up their intake, not only for the health benefits, but for our hardworking farmers.
This World Milk Day, we're encouraging Aussies to raise a glass of milk for our local dairy industry, which supports more than 70,000 jobs nationwide, and support our own health to help get our daily 2.5 serves of dairy in.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
What's happening in the tennis, Tom Wren?
Well, it's still going, Mel. That quarterfinal clash between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic at the French Open. The match now approaching 4 hours. Nadal leads 2-1 with the Spaniard now serving at 5-6 to stay alive in the fourth set. The winner of that match will take on Alexander Zverev in the semi-finals after he beat Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets a little earlier. Meantime, on the women's side of the draw, Coco Gauff and Martina Trevisan are both into the Final Four after they recorded wins. To football, and Adelaide is no certainty to regain Josh Rachele for this Saturday's clash against West Coast at Adelaide Oval. He's still recovering from a corky which kept him out of last week's clash against Geelong. The AFL Tribunal, meantime, will sit tonight to hear the Swans' defence of Lance Franklin's striking charge. Franklin was handed a 1-game suspension for striking Richmond's Trent Cotchin during the second quarter on Friday night. And Fremantle captain Nat Fyfe will make his long-awaited return from injury this weekend, but it will come through the waffle. Fyfe has not played this season following back surgery in March. Coach Justin Longmuir telling Channel 7 coming back via the State League is the best option.
Oh, look, we'll play him about 90 minutes, which is a good progression for him. I think it's really important for him to go back and get some confidence in his body, but confidence in his game, and I think it's a good stepping stone back to the AFL.
And Australia's women have lost their basketball decider to Japan, going down 69-67. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Seaton Smash on Trimmer Parade at Tapley's Hill Road. Enfield, another crash there. Main North Road near Grand Junction Road. Seeing pretty heavy delays here at the moment. Jabs Cross, urgent electrical works. Grand Junction Road near Balderstone Road. Down to one lane both directions and heavy delays. And busy at the moment, Regency Road, Prospect Road to King Street. Cameras, Bath Street, Glenelg South and Lyndoch Valley Road at Lyndoch. Big W's big sale is on now with thousands of deals up to 50% off in-store or online. Hurry, ends June 8 while stocks last. Big W, every day's a big day. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachiaircon.com.au.
A cloudy Wednesday, 15. Cloudy tomorrow, 15. Then up to 16 with showers on Friday. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Thinking of renovating or building? Then don't miss the Master Builders Home Show at the Adelaide Showground this Friday to Sunday with free entry. More info at kjex.com.au.
Got some breaking news. The grieving family of Queensland woman Shandy Blackburn has been given new hope with the coroner formally reopening the cold case.
On Sky News Australia.
Something serious was wrong with the DNA testing.
The creator of the Teacher's Pet podcast, Headley Thomas, uncovers explosive new details about an unsolved murder. Shandy's story, The Search for Justice, Tuesday, June 7, 7:30 p.m. on Sky News Australia. Watch on Foxtel, stream on Flash.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference. Like $15 schnitzel days at the Albion, Birkenhead Tavern and the Excelsior. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $15 schnitty. Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Albion, the Birkenhead Tavern and the Excelsior. Trying to make the world a better place, one schnitty at a time. Gotta start somewhere. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
All you need is love. Love is all you need.
22 minutes to 9. You've doubtless seen a video either online or on the news services. Morning TV as well, I think. Our next guest has been on. Not for the reason you want necessarily to be appearing in these sorts of areas. Cliff Des was at his Heathcote home in Victoria when he was attacked by a kangaroo. It was the thing that was striking about it, mind the pun, was the length of time the fight went on for. It tried to go for his dogs. He intervened, and the roo was having none of that. He joins us now from a doctor's surgery, as we understand. Still waiting to get the wounds tended to. Cliff, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, Cliff, walk us through what happened. How did this fight erupt?
Oh, look, just last week there, my dogs were barking, and I went outside to see what was going on, tell them to shut up, but I couldn't quite see him through the dog yard, so I walked around the side, and there was a big buck roo there trying to grab my little Staffordshire Terriers out through the fence, and I tried to shoo it away. I was quite some distance. I was 30-odd, 40 feet away from it, and tried to shoo it away, and it just took its attention off the dogs and sat back on its tail and put its hands up and hissed and then come running at me, and I took off and to get away from it, and as I'm running back in my yard, I slipped over, so the roo ended up on top of me and started smashing me on the ground, so I got up and I had a bit of a punch on with it for about, 30, 40 seconds, and yeah, after that I thought I've got no business here, so I took it to the ground. And the only way I could deal with it was down on the ground. I couldn't stand up fighting it.
Because it got a few kicks in, didn't it?
Got a few good claws and kicks, and it bit me and tried to gouge my face and put its back claw through my leg and give me a bit of damage in the back of the leg. And yeah.
So you had to basically get in a headlock and throw it onto the ground?
Yeah, well, I trapped it and locked it and took it to the ground and tried to get my composure, and then it put its back leg up through my pants top and gored me in the back leg and ripped me pants down to the cuff and
crikey,
yeah, ripped my shirt off, my jacket off me, and
you belted it with a stick at one point in the video. It looks like, Cliff.
Well, I was fortunate. As I ran back in the yard, I fell over, and where I fell, there was a stick there, so that sort of gave me a bit of an advantage until the stick broke. Yeah.
Jeez, how tall do you reckon it was, Cliff?
Oh, look, I'm about 5'8", and it was about a foot above me when it stood back on its tail and its hind legs.
I've seen the video, and it actually looks like a boxer, the way it's jumping around almost from side to side, like trying to line you up. It's remarkable.
Yeah, I used to box in my younger day, and I had no business there boxing it.
Have you ever? I've never seen a kangaroo, because there's a couple of times when it looks like it might hop away, or it's just decided to disengage, and it turns around and comes back at you. Are they Are they aggressive in the area? Has this something like this happened before?
Look, I couldn't tell you. He was just psychotic, and I think he was on a mission to try and get me dogs. So I think he was sort of pumped up. They pumped themselves up a bit, and they get into a frenzy. And me engaging with it, I should have just ignored the whole thing and just not even engaged. But well, nothing there was intentional. I never provoked it or anything like that, you know. So
yeah.
They get pretty wound up. I mean, we've got no business with the beast.
Yeah.
You know?
How you going, Cliff, with your injuries? We hope you're going to be all right. I mean, it sounds like you got a few cuts.
Look, that's all. It's just cosmetic what happened there. But I've got something going on in my back, and I was just at the doctor's now, and I'm trying to get a referral to get a scan. But he said to me he wants me to get an X-ray first or something. So
yeah, right.
I just want to know what's going on in my back.
Yeah. Nothing worse than back pain. Hey, Cliff, we wish you all the best in your
good on you,
recovery,
Cliff.
mate. Well done. I don't know if you got the points, but you certainly made it to the decision at the end of the fight.
Yes.
Yeah, look, I'm getting a bit of a bag, and I'm getting flogged by a few people.
Oh, no, I think you stood up pretty well, Cliff.
I thought you did well.
Oh, look, some people are saying there on media platforms, I wish they'd ripped his guts out. And just,
really?
You know, like just some low-vibing people, and other people saying, why didn't the cameraman help? I mean, the camera's stuck on the eaves of the house.
Yeah.
No cameraman.
Yeah, totally.
One other bloke saying, why didn't the dogs help him? The dogs are useless. Well, the dogs, if you have a good look, the dogs are inside the yard. I'm outside the yard.
Yeah, don't worry about them, Cliff.
Plenty of half-wits on social media offering critiques on absolutely anything. I reckon you responded in a way that most people would. You were trying to protect your dogs and yourself. It was an amazing.
Look, there's a lot of people walk past my place around this area, old people and women with kids in prams and stuff. So, look, it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
It might have got one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Good point. Hey, Cliff, all the best, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Literally from going to the doctors this morning, Cliff Des in Heathcote, Victoria. There's been a couple of these recently. Makes me wonder what's going on in Rooland. Are we getting bad press? They're not happy with us. A golf course on the Gold Coast was forced to close last week because they've had repeated roo attacks. And it was quite serious. 2 women in their 60s suffered serious injuries in separate attacks. Had to go to hospital as a result. I've gone out and wandered around roos freely, and it's never crossed my mind they might attack.
We do it all the time in winter in the Aldinga Conservation Park. And when we've had friends come over from interstate, we've said down the road there's a big mob of roos, and
you walk out there.
You walk through down the back there of Acacia Terrace, and you've only got to walk normally 100 metres into the park, and there'll be 10 or 20. But there have been a few occasions where there's been a couple of absolute whoppers and males, and they just stand up. And I actually have this thing in my head where I don't like staring at them.
Yeah.
Because I remember doing a
Don't
tour
make
at the
eye
zoo.
contact.
Well, we were told on a school excursion where I tagged along to help one of the teachers from Grange Primary School, they took us to the baboon enclosure. And one of the zoo staff said, and this was like telling a classroom of grade 5s, particularly grade 5 boys, whatever you do, don't stare at the baboons, because the baboons start fights by having a stare off, and then it's on. So this very well-intended zoo keeper told all the boys not to do it. And the moment she walked away, about 5 kids went up to the glass and just stared as hard as they could into the very soul of the baboons, who immediately went absolutely bonkers.
Well, it means 2 things in the animal kingdom, eye contact. You want to make love or war.
Yeah, I don't want to
Sometimes
do either of
both.
those things with a giant male kangaroo.
Sylvia in Salisbury's called in. Morning to you, Sylvia.
Yeah, good morning. A few years back, when my husband was still around, we were coming back from holiday in Canberra and driving towards the Canberra airport, and there were 2 huge big bucks on the side of the road having a real boxing match. I reckon they'd have been close to 7 foot high.
Oh, wow. You do see some that are
really
huge.
Having a go.
Those big red, was it a big red kangaroo?
Yes, big ones.
They are massive, those things.
Real boxing match.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get in a tussle with them.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, that's...
Well, in a less politically correct time, they used to have them as circus performers.
Right.
They used to have them back in the days of the boxing tent. They'd have kangaroos who would fight. There were, I reckon, people used to fight them as a form of entertainment.
Sylvia, thank you for that. Let's give Sylvia a FIVEaa breakfast collectible cup.
Yes.
Because she's called in, whereas the Queen hasn't, and that's an important distinction.
Have you ever been attacked by it's a completely redundant question. Of course you have. You're attacked by a fish.
Yes, and the retelling of that story, what I've noted of myself is that a bit like Tall Tales of Fishermen, it's getting bigger. It's now a man eater, and it was a 2 metre long fish.
It started off life as a leather jacket.
It did. But
it looked a bit like a leather jacket
in the retelling.
Was it called the Titan triggerfish?
Yeah, it's got teeth like daggers.
It's got an ugly mug on it, that fish.
Yeah, you look it up. Went toe to toe with it. See, unlike Cliff, who fought, I ran. and me trying to swim fast is a pretty desperate, pathetic-looking scene, I can tell you. All right, let's check traffic. We've got behind closed doors coming up in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At Seaton, smash on Trimmer Parade at Tapley's Hill Road. Enfield got a crash, Main North Road near Grand Junction Road. Linton, Burst Water Lane, Belia Road near John Fisher Drive. And Jeps Cross, urgent electrical works. Grand Junction Road near Balderstone Road. It's down to 1 lane both directions and pretty slow going at the moment. Cameras, Broadway, Glenelg South and Mencken Streets at Henley Beach. Feeling hungry? Head into OTR now and grab a sausage roll and a travel pie for only $6. Available at OTR for a limited time only. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Mark, an intensive care doctor at the Royal Adelaide Hospital. If I can share just one piece of advice this winter, it's that being double vaxxed isn't fully vaxxed. Book your 3rd COVID shot now.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Some days are hot. Others, freezing. But
With an Hitachi air conditioner in your home, you can be comfortable all year round. Hitachi has a wide range of inverter wall-mounted, ducted and multi-split systems to suit any home. Plus, selected models come with a 6-year warranty. So don't just get any air conditioner. Get what Hitachi has. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now to find your local specialist installer.
Good pals are hard to find, but at Parafield Airport Liquor Store, hard to find is our specialty. Whether you're after old reliable pals or want some new pals, Sam, Jamie and the team know just the pals for you. They've made pals with over 200 gins, over 300 craft beers, over 500 whiskies from around the world, and over 2,000 wines. Parafield Airport Liquor Store, Pals, open till late 7 days. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
AEG goes big this tax time with our biggest ever Bunnings one-day takeovers. Exclusive one-day deals, tool demos and expert advice. Thursday, June 2nd at select Bunnings stores. Find your store at aegpowertools.com.au.
Oh, it's cold outside, but it's hotting up at Harris Scarf for Giant June. Looking for beautiful cosy bedding, flannelette sheets and electric blankets for snuggly nights? You're warm. Slow cookers for comfort food. Getting warmer. Cast iron cookware for Nana's secret winter recipes. Warmer, warmer. 40 to 60% off all homewares in Manchester and 20 to 30% off all electrical. Hot, hot, hot! Harris Scarf's Giant June, with great prices that make a chilly winter feel like a heat wave.
With tax time approaching, it's time to take advantage of the federal government's instant asset write-off. It's also a great time to speak to Toyota about a new forklift for your business. Check out their huge range of quality Toyota forklifts, pallet jacks, walkie stackers, reach forklifts and more. With legendary reliability and safety, plus cleaner, greener electric options. It's all part of the Toyota forklift advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Terms and conditions apply.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Oh,
9 minutes to 9, behind closed doors in a moment. It's a big job when you become a minister in the Australian government. You can announce one day and the next morning you've been asked the tough questions on breakfast radio and television. Richard Marles is the new Defence Minister, and yesterday becomes the Defence Minister, and today he was asked on Sunrise about whether Australia would fight to defend Taiwan in the event that the Chinese invaded. Here was his answer.
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals, and you'll never hear me talk about that. I mean, obviously that question comes off the back of the comment that President Biden made. I think what President Biden said was important in terms of the commitment that America is giving to its presence in our region, in the East Asian time zone, and that's a really important part of the equation as well. We want to make sure that America is as involved here as possible. Our alliance with the United States has never been more important, and we are completely committed to it.
International relations is the one area of government where you forgive a government for being obtuse or dodging questions, because sometimes the stakes are particularly high and the audience is greater than just the voter. But at the same time, I always feel like our federal government's position on these sorts of things shouldn't be a secret to us.
Yeah.
But I get why it is what I'm saying.
Part of the thing, and look, we've just had the past few years, and Peter Dutton was a big part of this, where we've been talking up the threat from China.
Yes.
And it felt like during the election campaign it was being talked up for party political ends. That,
yeah.
I mean, it was even said that, Beijing wants Albanese to win. Now, I think Albanese's made the point quite rightly that over the last few years, Australia didn't change, China changed. That she is a hardliner, and that all of the attacks on our industries, which until recently have been happily trading with China, wine, lobsters, grain, you name it, that it's China becoming more belligerent that's behind that. So it did sound like fence sitting. It was one of those things where you go back through the paragraphs in their written form trying to work out what he's actually said, and the sum total of it is bugger all. But maybe not doing the sabre rattling for a while is a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's right. I just...
The more important thing, I reckon, is what Penny Wong's been doing, which is heading to the Pacific.
Yeah. shoring up support.
Yeah.
It feels like a Cold War era front suddenly.
I tell you what, if you want to see an absolute wuss fence-sitting government at work, look over the ditch at the Ardern government.
Oh, my God.
Their foreign minister, there's a huge story in New Zealand right now, and the foreign minister is a Maori woman who is under attack from people like her predecessor, Winston Peters, who's saying, you're not paying attention to anything that's happening in the region. And even Biden has raised this with Ardern, his concerns about the Pacific. New Zealand looks almost a bit like, the Andrews government with the Belt and Road stuff.
We talk about Southeast Asia as being our sphere of influence and the Pacific. For New Zealand, it's just the Pacific. That's it. Their whole foreign relations platform is based on looking after those countries, representing them and forming a coalition of oceanic nations. They're nowhere on this. So it's a failing of Australian foreign policy, but New Zealand as well. The trailer for the new Pinocchio film has come out. This is the one where Tom Hanks has been cast in the role of Geppetto.
Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might have the wish I wish tonight.
When you wish upon a star.
I imagine it'll be a spectacular box office success because it's the sort of the family films and the Marvel films, two things that tend to guarantee you money if you're a major studio, and you get to attach a big name like Tom Hanks to it, the Rolls Royce of actors, as we learnt a couple of weeks ago. Baz Luhrmann described him as. It'll likely be something with a massive, massive box office opening. Let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And welcome to 5AA Breakfast. And David Penberthy, welcome along to you too.
G'day, Will. How you going?
I'm really well, David.
FM don't do news.
Today on the program, we'll be looking at...
I had a very disconcerting moment at home yesterday.
Really? What happened?
Well, I'm an analogue guy. I still prefer my record player, although I got Spotify recently, but you can't beat the soothing sound of surface noise and scratches on a record.
Yep, right.
I still love my cassette deck and my mixtapes.
Right.
Because there's a certain cathartic value in wanting to listen to a certain song and then endlessly rewinding and spooling and rewinding and spooling and rewinding and spooling until you give up and listen to a completely different song.
Yep, so what happened?
I also really enjoy the lack of dynamic range and lower quality sound you get from tape.
Yeah, okay.
I'll always regret throwing out my Edison waxed cylinder player.
Oh, yeah, great technology for its time.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, Will, sorry I was a bit late this morning. I had a bit of trouble hooking the horses up to the cart.
That's okay, David.
Anyway, when I go to bed, I like a hot water bottle.
Oh, right.
Now, a lot of people would keep that to themselves for fear of being labelled a simpering, limp-wristed old wimp, but I think if you've got cold feet, the rest of you feels cold too.
That's right.
The cold goes right up your body into the very core of your being.
Wimp.
Sorry?
Nothing, go on.
Yeah, so anyway, I was lying in bed with the hot water bottle and I realised the rubber had perished and the water was pouring out into the bed.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's a very old hot water bottle. It belonged to my grandmother and now obviously I've turned into her, but it leaked out into the bed.
That is serious, David.
It sure is. Kate had to sleep with Sam last night and Jim's away, so I slept in his room.
Get an electric blanket, David.
My wife and I are sleeping in separate beds because I'm an analogue guy out of his depth and almost literally drowning in a digital world.
See, what Blakey's really nailed there, not so much any of the crap that comes out of my mouth, but the barely concealed sense of exhaustion in your tone as I meander off into some doddery old guy anecdote about my bloody hot water bottle.
Remember there was I had confused where that story was going of the morning. It doesn't bear repeating at 9 o'clock. But
Blake, you'll be listening. Where's the shame in using a hot water bottle? Does it make you less than a man using a hot water bottle?
Look, I won't speak for John Blake, but I think that's exactly what he was saying. Let's get a headline.
Crisis averted. Planet saved as state parliament embraces empty gesture.
Yeah. Tick that box. Someone asked us something. Grant Stevens is back in control.
Yeah, that's right.
2 minutes to 9. Graham Goodings is coming up, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joy Ring Fashions. After many incredible years, I've decided to hang up my Joyreen hat. Yes, ladies, I'm retiring. This is your final chance to purchase quality garments at Joyreen Fashions. Every garment in store is half